On the continent of Zunnan, within the spiritual paradise of the Dongsing realm, there are many floating lands. The Empress of the Celestial Demon Sect is about to get married. Someone announces that the ceremony is about to begin and asks everyone to take their seats, greeting the arriving guests. Inside the ceremony hall, many people gather. Ling Xiaoyao enters the venue and an elder tells him to sit in the VIP area. Other guests notice Lin's presence and comment that he is the third prince of the realm and very talented, but still far beneath the Empress. That's still better than Ning Tian, the loser who has been working there for 3 years and is still a 1-star warrior. The young man says he doesn't understand why the Empress chose a loser as her husband, but another guest tells him to be quiet before he gets scolded. Meanwhile, at the residence of the Empress of the Demon Sect, Ning Tian comments that he never imagined he'd one day become a time traveler and end up in a cultivation world. He doesn't understand why he's still a 1-star warrior after working for the sect for 3 years. It feels like a complete waste. The protagonist can't believe he's actually getting married to the Empress of the sect that day, even dressed in such stylish clothes. It's all a mess. A noise is heard outside the room. The door slowly opens, and a woman enters. She asks if he's awake. Then she gets straight to the point, saying he needs to understand that the marriage is just for show. She is Lu Wuking, the immortal Empress. Ning is shocked by that information. She concludes by saying that if he has any filthy thoughts about her, he'll meet a cruel end. Ning thinks to himself how even his marriage is a lie. The system congratulates him on activating the shock system host, leaving him confused. Lu asks if he heard what she just said. The young man reflects on how, with such a horrible system, he'll never escape his status or change his fate. He wants to know how he can outsmart the system and tells it to stop pretending to be dead and answer him. Angrily, the Empress says she'll ask one more time if he heard her. Shouting, Ning tells her to shut up because he's busy over there. The Empress is stunned by his reaction. Exploding with fury, she asks what he just said. The young man realizes this might be the end. He forgot who he was talking to. If she wants to eliminate him, she can do it effortlessly. Stammering, he tries to explain himself. The system congratulates him on completing his first shock and says his reward is an aura suppression skill that lasts for 3 hours. He realizes this is how the system works. He got rewarded for talking back to her. He must stay calm. Their status gap is enormous, and even if she wants a fake marriage, it means she wants something from him. The MC concludes that this woman won't get rid of him so easily without first getting what she wants. Then he realizes he has the upper hand to earn more rewards. He stands up and stomps his foot in front of her, saying he is her husband and asking if she has any objection to the way he speaks to her. The system reappears, congratulating him on completing an ordinary shock. His reward is a blood pill that restores physical strength and aids his meridians. Ming realizes he has to take advantage of this situation while it lasts. So he says that since they're husband and wife, they should do what couples do. The Empress is speechless at his words. The system says he caused another shock. His pill was automatically consumed. He's absorbing energy 10 times faster, and his martial arts knowledge has increased. The young man closes his eyes, feeling the power surge through his body. He no longer has to feel like trash. Full of rage, the Empress asks if he has a final wish and attacks him. He's sent flying. What powerful strike that was. Lu charges forward, places her hand on the young man's chest, and asks what he wishes for before dying. He realizes she might really go through with it. So he activates the aura suppression. Suddenly, the Empress's powers dissipate. She wonders why her aura is acting like that all of a sudden. She asks how this could be happening and why her powers aren't working. Ning is amazed by the strength of that ability. The woman collapses on top of him, nearly lifeless. Fortunately, the system's reward worked, but they only have 3 hours. Even if he runs, he won't get far enough. When the time runs out, he'll have no chance. He'll have to fight. He turns and gets on top of the Empress, who asks how he dares. That name reflects that at least he was able to feel some satisfaction while in danger, so he wants to give her another big shock. The system announces that he has shocked the Empress of the Celestial Demon Sect several times. 3 hours later, Ming is at the window sipping tea, commenting that now it's too late for her to get rid of him. He's still useful to her needs. She thinks that she must be patient. If she eliminates him now, she won't get the Celestial Demon Manual, and there will be no way for the sect to rise again. The girl sits on the bed. She tells him to come to the palace at night. The wedding ceremony will proceed as planned. Ning is speechless, and the Empress walks away. As expected, he's still useful to her, but it was very bold of him to treat her that way. The system congratulates him on completing the world's shock. His reward is 10 years of cultivation, and he is confused. The host evolves to the 4-star warrior realm. A cultivation level that would take decades is rising rapidly. 1 hour later, the system announces the host has evolved to the 6-star warrior realm. The attribute panel has been activated. The host can now see his stats there, and Ming feels relieved. His promotion is finally complete. He is now a 6-star black warrior with cultivation, martial arts knowledge, and aura absorption increased tenfold. His physique is described as divine, and the young man asks the system to explain that. The system chooses not to respond. Ning says whatever. It still means he can fight back in this world. No matter how useful he is, he won't remain that way anymore. So if his wife is an empress, then one day he'll show everyone that Ning Tian is also capable and strong enough to stand at the top of the world. Shortly after, in the Celestial Demon Palace, 8 generations of leaders of the Celestial Demon Sect are gathered, and someone announces the entrance of Empress Liu Wuking. Everyone is impressed. She's someone at the realm of the immortal emperor. She's incredibly valuable as an empress, possessing both beauty and power. Prince Lin thinks about how the empress truly lives up to her reputation, but it's a shame she's marrying that person. The man beside him says he's heard that the prince has secretly admired the empress for a long time, and in his opinion, only he is worthy of her. Kuang Shu from the Earth King realm adds that if he were the prince, he wouldn't just sit back and watch the empress marry that loser. Lin trembles at the thought of this situation. Then he downs his drink and asks how he could interfere with her decisions. But deep down, he really wants to see who the loser marrying her is. An elder announces that the empress has arrived and it's time to welcome the husband, Ning Tian. In the audience, many whispers arise. People say Ning is low level, just a 1-star warrior. The elder shouts that he's entering. The gate opens, but Ning isn't there. The crowd wonders where the loser is and how he dares be late to the ceremony. Suddenly, Ning comes running in. As he enters the hall, he complains that no one told him the place was so far, so he had to run like crazy. Thankfully, now that he's stronger, he made it in time. Smiling, he apologizes for the delay and says it's his first wedding, so he's inexperienced. The crowd is shocked that he called this his first wedding. Someone says they heard he was just a sect employee, so of course he has no manners. The prince stands up furiously and shouts that Ning is reckless. He made the madam wait in vain for too long and still dares to give such an excuse. Angrily, Ning glares at Lin and asks if he's crazy for yelling at his wedding, telling him not to interfere any further or he won't be invited to the honeymoon. Everyone is shocked by Ning's boldness. He stuns the third prince, then the celestial madam of Tianqi, the celestial lord of light, and sect leader Kuang Shu, all of whom are left in disbelief. In the end, he shocked everyone present at the wedding and gained an upgraded level of the celestial demon palm martial arts skill. Smiling like a madman, Ning thinks that this wedding venue is a true treasure for him. Even the celestial demon palm was learned in an instant. The prince feels like he's about to explode with rage and wonders why Ning was chosen. Is he better looking? In terms of power, he would definitely lose. Slamming the table, he reminds himself that he is the third prince of Dongxing. He cannot be compared to a mere servant, so he shouts for Ning to stop right there. He says he wants to uphold the empress's dignity and challenges him to a duel, asking if he accepts. In terms of power, the prince is the strongest of the new generation. No one ever imagined the empress would choose someone so different from him. He will crush Ning. Lin says he won't act like a bully since he could destroy him with only half his power, and if Ning is truly a man, he'll accept the challenge. The empress watches the situation unfold, curious to see the next chapter. A master also watches with a smile as he drinks from his cup. Even with just half of his strength, the prince can easily defeat that trash. As long as he accepts, the prince can use it to show off his power in front of the empress. In the audience, one man says that even if the prince doesn't use his full power, he'll still win. Another replies that this will be a great show. Confident, Ning says he accepts the challenge. He can use this prince to shock the strongest person in the room. The prince says Ning must have a death wish. After all, even a small amount of his power will be enough to finish him. He then adds that he wants to see what virtue Ning possesses to deserve the empress. The guests cheer, saying the prince is absolutely right and that she should be with him. Smiling, Ning thinks that since the prince is the one who started the fight, he can't be blamed for what's coming. Since Lin is a distant guest, Ning says he'll let him go first, but the prince mocks him, saying that if he starts, it would be unfair. So it's better for the loser boy to go first. That's exactly what Ning was waiting for, so he says he'll go ahead and begin. The young man channels his power and moves to start the fight. Lin says his movements are trash and his aura and stance are pathetic. An elder from the demon sect says it's a shame the empress is clinging to garbage like Ning. Another elder says that lowly servant fell right into the provocation trap. A dragon appears within Ning's aura and he casually remarks that his palm technique really isn't all that great. He strikes with his attack, which is enough to end Lin. The prince says the kid must be bluffing. That move won't even scratch him. At his level, Ning shouldn't be able to generate anything threatening. Ning remains calm and unleashes his celestial demon palm at the prince, who simply watches. Then he realizes that this power is far stronger than he expected. An elder asks in amazement if that is the celestial demon palm, while another is shocked that he has such a technique. The prince thinks to himself that Ning is just a warrior. He shouldn't be able to maintain an earth-level skill. Now Lin must remove the attack and seal it. Using all his strength, he tries to dispel the enemy's strike, but it doesn't work. Nothing works. Terrified, he looks behind Ning to where the empress stands. He wonders if she's the one suppressing his aura. Lin sees no way out and doesn't understand why the empress is helping Ning. As he's being defeated by the strike, he thinks about how the boy is just trash. A servant, he shouldn't be able to defeat him. A loud crash occurs and everyone is confused about what just happened. Did the prince really lose? The guests begin to question how Ning was able to use his celestial technique from the demon sect. The elders are outraged that he knows that technique and won the fight, bringing them all shame. The Empress wonders if the boy is truly the key to the celestial demon manual. After all, he was incredibly bold just that very afternoon. She watches closely and wonders if it was really him who made her aura disappear that afternoon. The system informs him that he managed to shock everyone, the Empress, the elders, and the other guests, exactly the effect Ning wanted. Since he shocked the entire audience, his destruction combo is complete. His reward is physical charm. Excited, he thinks that this is a highly valuable skill. Physical charm grants infinite charisma and allows the host to win everyone over effortlessly. After activating his new ability, the girls in the hall begin to fall for him, saying he's amazing and that he makes their hearts race. The men comment that their hearts are melting and ask if he needs a cultivation partner. Everyone is in love with Ning, praising how incredible he is. Embarrassed, he asks what the system is doing and reflects that Luo Wuking is watching everything. When he looks back, he sees the Empress covering her face and wonders why she's not reacting. Could it be that his charm doesn't affect her? Behind him, the prince asks why people aren't calling him trash. Smiling, Ning stares at Lin. Then he says that yes, he is trash. The audience is stunned that he would call himself trash and question whether Ning has gone insane. He says that as a cultivator, one shouldn't expect to reach success instantly. Then he asks if that's not trash, what is? Someone says it's hard to reach the top in a single step. Another asks if, by that logic, the heavenly sons and princes are useless. Ning remains unfazed and says the world is vast and people are small. There must be people in the world capable of ascending the heavens, moving mountains and seas, doing anything. He'd rather be someone who recognizes his place, but the prince is so arrogant with his small accomplishments, he simply proclaimed himself a genius. Consumed by fury, Lin yells and demands to know what Ning means by proclaiming himself a genius. Everyone begins to feel overwhelmed. An elder says that judging someone's worth solely by how quickly they progress is a ruthless way of thinking. Another adds that the heavenly sons and princes are treated as geniuses. He's just a lowly servant. No one understands why he's been graced by divinity. In the celestial demon palace, Ning stands before everyone. An elder asks Ning where he learned the palm technique. He worries that if the groom keeps speaking, the hearts of the holy sons and princes will shatter. Ning mentions the Buddha scripture pavilion. He can't tell them about the system. The elder reflects that indeed there are records of the sect in the pavilion and asks how long it took him to master the technique. He starts thinking. If he says he learned it in just 1 minute, that might seem suspicious. So he should say a longer time. Nervously, Ning says it took him a day to learn it. Everyone present is shocked by that statement. It's unbelievable that he managed to master it in only 1 day. Then he realizes he should have said an even longer time. That technique is incredibly difficult to practice. Common people may lose their lives trying to learn it, and even the most talented ones take at least 3 days. Shouting, the elder says they finally have a disciple talented enough to rival the Empress. Someone points out that Ning said you can't reach the heavens in 1 step or be a genius, yet he mastered the palm in 1 day. He must be a genius. The system announces that since he shocked the elders of the celestial demon sect, he is rewarded with 100 aura cultivations. A great power flows into his body. The elder cries into Ning's chest, overwhelmed with emotion. Then he steps back and says those are small matters. Greater things cannot be delayed. He calls the attention of the officiant. It's time to begin. They are now married to honor heaven and earth. All the guests admire the couple and say they are a perfect match. A handsome man and a stunning woman. A perfect couple made in heaven. Ning reflects on how just moments ago he was trash, and now he's beloved. Someone announces the first bow to heaven and earth. He reflects that no matter the world, respect for the strong is always a reality. The same voice announces the second bow to the ancestors, and the couple bows. Lu watches him and thinks about how she hopes the demon statue was right, that by marrying him, she'll obtain the manual. Just a few months ago, in the celestial demon sect, behind the mountain in the forbidden region, there was a gate. Through it, the Empress entered and walked down a corridor. At the end, there stood a giant statue of a man. She stops in front of the statue and says that if she's going to marry that loser, she wants the manuals. In half a year, the 5 emperors and 3 lords will occupy that sect. Only if she reaches the realm of the gods will she be strong enough to fight. If she wants to put an end to this, she needs to become a goddess, which can happen if she practices with the manual. Hundreds of years ago, by the sect's carnal right, the leader must obtain the manual. To do that, they must marry someone with a divine physique, even if it means marrying a loser who can't cultivate. She has no intention of letting the sect collapse. At the wedding, husband and wife are leaving and the crowd comments that the Empress is sharp. The more you look at the groom, the better he gets. A powerful baby will come soon. Someone thinks that this must be reported to the Alliance of Leaders immediately. At the Youth Alliance of the Celestial Spirit Realm, a person tells the elders that the demon tamer has been furious and demons are being abandoned by the Celestial Demon Sect. Regarding the extermination of the demoness Luo Wuking, the old Emperor Zhengshan wants to know how things are progressing. Elder Xu of JMA says everything is ready. The demoness has no idea what kind of mess is in Qian Feng's head. Another elder says she married some random servant. The Emperor says he heard about that too, and that Kuang Shu also contacted him. He then takes the physique gem, a spiritual item. Through it, he opens the message from Elder Kuang, who says something major has happened. Zhengshan asks why he's panicking like that. Kwang says Lu Wuking deceived them all. The person she married isn't trash, but a genius. One of the elders says he knew it wouldn't be that simple. The boy's name is Ning Tian. He used to be a useful servant. The master had Lin Shouao duel that loser, but Ning defeated the prince with a palm technique he learned in a day. Su comments that achieving that is nothing short of a miracle. Qian Feng tells their leader that this man must be taken seriously. The emperor remarks that unexpectedly the empress has made her move. They need to gather all available information on Ning Tian. The celestial demon sect must disappear, or they'll all be in trouble. That night in the empress's room, Lu and Ning are sitting together. He thinks about how everyone reacted to his divine physique, except the empress. Meanwhile, she brushes her long hair. The young man thinks he needs to wake up. He became her husband out of nowhere. If the system hadn't appeared, he would just be a nobody. Who knows if she ever even visit him in the future. If he wants a foothold in this world, he needs to use his power. So he asks the system to activate physical charm. He wants to take advantage of being alone with her and try to shock her again, to see if she's the same as she was during the day. Smiling, Ming calls out to Lu. Then he says that a single moment on the wedding night is worth thousands of gold coins, so they should do something together. Annoyed, she turns to him and says she knows about his special physique and that it doesn't work on her. He reflects that the Empress's heart seems unbreakable. Even so, she stands up wearing her pajamas, which leaves Ning flustered and shocked. Boldly, she approaches him and says he wants to do that, but doesn't have the guts. Ning gets stressed out by her words and the Empress keeps mocking him. So he rushes forward to save his dignity and prove himself to her. But suddenly, he realizes he can't move and asks the Empress what she's doing. Lu says she merely suppressed his aura a little and tonight, he'll be sleeping standing up. Furious, Ning shouts at her to let him go and challenges her to fight in bed with real swords and weapons, but the girl ignores him. The night goes on and Ning realizes the Empress doesn't plan on letting him go that night. There's no way around it. The gap between them is too big, but he will train and sooner or later, he'll show that he's the greatest of all. The system announces that his cultivation has increased threefold. The next morning, Ning grumbles that Lu was extremely rude and made him stand the whole night. He cultivated all night and became a 7-star black warrior, but that's only a 1-star evolution, which feels too slow. The system informs him that the host can choose a place with abundant aura to cultivate and Ning thinks about it. He knows of such a place. It's the primary cultivation ground. All the aura of the celestial demon sect is gathered there. It's perfect. The disciples of the sect can triple their cultivation speed there. Everyone notices Ning's presence and is surprised that the most popular person in the sect is there. He's a cultivation genius. He didn't expect the growing cultivation aura to be so abundant and pure. It's truly extraordinary. But soon he's disappointed because it's still not fast enough. Those around him are shocked that he doesn't find it fast enough. It seems he can only release his cultivation power at 10 times the normal rate. The system informs him that his tenfold aura absorption is active and power begins forming around Ning. The environment starts to tremble and energy flows throughout the area. People wonder if it's an earthquake, but it's just Ning. He's absorbing the aura from the entire cultivation ground. The system announces that he has shocked the group of disciples and his reward is a ranked movement technique, Water Dragon Step. The cultivation speed of the Water Dragon Step increases tenfold. He thinks that with this movement, getting in and out of places will be no problem. Now he has plenty of aura stored in his body, but without new abilities added, his strength hasn't increased. So he approaches a female disciple and asks where the sex techniques are kept. Excited, she calls him Patriarch and answers that they have a scripture vault, which happens to be open today. He thanks her and leaves, but quickly he stops and asks what she just called him, Patriarch. He wonders how he can be a patriarch when he's only in his early 20s, but she explains that those are the sect's rules. Whoever marries the Empress is the Patriarch. Smiling, Ning comments that Patriarch sounds too old and thinks senior brother would be more fitting. The girl falls head over heels for his words. Everyone melts for him, so Ning says he won't disturb their cultivation any longer. But since he drained all the aura from the area, they can't keep cultivating. Ning heads to the scripture vault of the celestial demon sect and finds a massive line. So he asks if everyone there is going into the vault, saying it'll take centuries at that rate. A man starts to reply, but then realizes it's the Patriarch. Everyone falls in love with him and starts letting him through, calling him handsome and amazing. Eerily is charming. Not only did he win the Empress, but also the hearts of many disciples. The guys wish they had even a tenth of his charisma. Someone steps out and complains that there's too much noise in front of the vault. It's Elder Guyan, who asks if there are no rules here. He approaches Ning and all the girls around him step back. One guy comments that Guyan is an old-fashioned and strict elder exiled to the vault for contradicting the Empress. If he looks at you, you'll end up with nothing. Guyan prepares to make a move. Then he bows deeply in reverence to Patriarch Ning. It's the first time anyone has seen him be so respectful. Everyone is in total shock. Elder Guyan hands Ning the key to the vault and says he can access anything he wants. Ning thinks he doesn't seem strict at all. Guyan explains that the higher you go, the stronger the techniques become, and so do the strength requirements. Then he asks where Ning wants to go, but Ning quickly vanishes. He leaps powerfully and says he wants to go to the 50th floor, entering in one go. Gu Yan shouts that the Patriarch's floor limit is the 30th. Even the most gifted disciple doesn't go beyond the 40th. No one but the Grand Elder and Supreme Elder has ever reached the 50th. Ning thinks he has plenty of aura stored in his body, so now he needs to choose the best techniques. He opens the gate that leads to the floor. He begins walking through the shells of skill scrolls. The more spiritual veins they contain, the faster aura grows and the more strength increases. But even with his body full of aura, he can only open a dozen spiritual veins, which isn't enough. Then he sees a scroll glowing in front of him and wonders what it is. It turns out to be one of the advanced Earth techniques, Demon King technique. He decides that's the one he'll learn and opens the scroll. Then he uses his comprehension boost to learn the technique quickly. The system informs him that the host is comprehending the Demon King technique, its elementary level has been achieved, and the technique has been upgraded to its maximum level. Ning feels all the power coursing through his body. His body and eyes begin to glow. Suddenly, there's a massive explosion. Outside, the crowd is stunned. The Patriarch found an incredible technique. Gu Yan wonders how much he can endure at once. Using the vault key, Gu Yan contacts Ning, calling out to him. He explains that the plaque allows anyone inside the vault to communicate with the outside world. Since he saw something strange happen, he became worried about the Patriarch. Ning says there's a problem. Too few spiritual veins are opening. Calmly, Gu Yan tells him not to get discouraged. Normally, opening more than 10 spiritual veins is already good. But Ning is disappointed because half of his aura remains unused. He opened only 100 spiritual veins. The Elder is stunned and shouts that 100 veins is the limit of the Demon King technique. Only a celestial level beginner could achieve that, especially in just 30 minutes. It's incredible. The system announces that he has shocked Elder Gu Yan, so he has been rewarded with a Divine Record technique, which helps unlock the Divine Physique. Another scroll appears. The martial arts of that world are divided into 5 categories: Divine, Heaven, Earth, Black, and Yellow. The Divine Record is the strongest Divine tier ability. So Ming asks the system to cultivate the Divine Record. The system boosts his comprehension power by 10 times so he can understand the Divine Record. Several powerful points emerge around Ning, and he wonders why his aura absorption has suddenly stopped. Suddenly, something takes him by surprise. He feels an unbearable pain unexpectedly. Cultivating a divine technique dissolves his previous spiritual veins. It's as if all of his bones are being shattered and rebuilt from scratch. The system announces that the host has achieved 30% comprehension of the Divine Record. His Divine Physique is now active and the spiritual veins are about to be opened. He thinks that even with his comprehension increased tenfold, he was only able to absorb 30%. He wants to see how many spiritual veins this divine technique can unlock. From inside the vault, powerful lights shoot out and someone asks the Elder what's going on. Gu Yan replies that it looks like the Divine Ocean. When cultivating, aura gathers like a stream. The more aura present, the better it is for cultivation. But only when a massive amount of aura gathers does an ocean form. The Patriarch must have extremely high cultivation talent. The power Ning releases surpasses the walls and ceiling of the building. Someone shouts that the Patriarch and his spiritual ocean are rising toward the heavens. From below, it's possible to see Ning bursting out through the top of the vault in an explosion of power, trying to absorb all the aura of the celestial demon sect. Gu Yan yells that he's too young and that's far too much aura. It's impossible for him to absorb it all. The Supreme Elder arrives flying through the sky, saying it's a reckless move and asking who is trying to steal the aura of his sect. Everyone is shocked by his appearance. After all, he had been in seclusion. Someone comments that he must have succeeded and reached the realm of the immortal emperor. The Supreme Elder lands on the ground, furious, and everyone greets him. Gu Yan congratulates him, saying that now both he and the Empress possess emperor-level power. No one will dare eliminate the sect. But the old man is filled with rage and shouts that he didn't succeed at all. He was on the verge of advancement when his aura was suddenly absorbed. Then he asks who's causing this mess. Gu Yan comments that since the Elder was gone for a year, he's out of the loop. That's the Patriarch. The old man is shocked that Lu got married, then asks who her husband is. Is it the Emperor of the Divine Palace or the Lord of the Celestial Mist? But it's neither. It's a member of the sect. He's stunned and yells that no disciple could possibly be worthy of her, that marrying someone like that is wrong. Amidst the chaos, someone says the young man is certainly worthy. It's the Empress, who has arrived at the scene, making everyone bow in her presence. Angrily, the Supreme Elder says she's a bad girl. The Righteous Alliance has their eyes on the sect and could invade at any moment. She should have chosen a powerful husband. She responds that he should watch his words. She's still the Empress and he shouldn't concern himself with her personal duties. The old man reluctantly agrees. Someone whispers to Gu Yan that they never expected the Empress to show no mercy to the Supreme Elder for the sake of the Patriarch. High above, Ning is in contact with the power while meditating. A man shouts that the celestial lightning thunder is forming and someone asks if the Patriarch is cultivating a new ability. Gu Yan wonders how it came to this. Ning appears calm as he evolves. The Supreme Elder yells that this isn't just any lightning. It's the Thunder Dragon forming and crossing the spiritual ocean. He's using it to open more veins. Then the elder asks the Empress if her husband is really just a mere disciple and says that with that talent, it's very possible he could reach the Emperor realm one day. Pleased, the Empress wonders if Ning created all this chaos just to open more spiritual veins, and if so, he's closer than ever to divine power. Pointing upward, someone shouts for everyone to look. The spiritual ocean is darkening and being drained. Ning is serious before the massive dragon that formed. If the aura isn't enough, the thunder dragon will cause Ning to explode and perish. The Empress heads toward him and tells the elder to watch from there. She will protect him. Then she begins to use her power to restrain Ning, who descends. He hadn't expected that transforming the thunder dragon into spiritual veins would require so much aura. The Empress is caught off guard and he begins absorbing her aura by force. She is protecting him. This is the first time something like this has happened. Everyone is stunned that someone would receive such treatment from the Empress. Staring at Ning, she thinks he has quite the appetite if he wants to absorb her aura too. Curious to see how much he can take, the girl decides to willingly give him her aura and then uses all her celestial emperor power. Ning absorbs all the aura he can in front of the massive dragon. The thunder of the spiritual veins is truly extraordinary. Smiling, the patriarch is struck with an immense amount of power and moves toward his wife. The Empress is surprised by the situation and he holds her in his arms, thanking her. Then he teases her a bit for having willingly given her power to protect him. She complains and tells him to let her go already. Ning hadn't expected her to protect him. It seems she really does need him alive. The two fly through the sky, now without the spiritual ocean or the dragon. Gumian asks the Supreme Elder how many spiritual veins he opened during his first awakening. The old man replies 8, and that he was considered a genius for it. Then he says that boy is incredibly talented. He might be able to open 40 or 50 veins. From below, Gubian calls out to the patriarch, asking how many spiritual veins he opened. Ning says he'll take a look. Then he replies that more than half of the aura still remains and he's only opened 199 veins. The Supreme Elder and Guyan are stunned by that number. That's an enormous amount of spiritual veins. Meanwhile, at the imperial court of the Dongxing Kingdom, the healer Chan Lao informs the Lord that the Thunder Tribulation came from the Celestial Demon Sect. The Emperor of the Kingdom, Lin Ba, complains that ever since his son returned from that sect, he lost his spirit and could never be healed by medicine. Furious, he tells Tan Lao to contact the Righteous Alliance so they can discuss the urgency of destroying the Celestial Demon Sect. The healer tries to mention that the Empress is there. Even so, Lin Ba doesn't seem concerned. The sect is in Dongxing territory and growing stronger. If they're going to eliminate it now, it might be too late later. Elsewhere, 3 old men stare at the sky. One of them, Zhengshen, says that lightning tribulation might mean the Empress is ascending to the divine realm. Another says it doesn't yet seem like the divine realm, that if she is broken through, then it means they would lose if they tried to invade the sect within 6 months. Zhengshen agrees but says the Empress couldn't have become a goddess. She wouldn't be able to ascend through the divine realm. They should remember the Throne King's battle. Many real emperors exhausted their lives trying to become gods, but in the end they failed and died filled with regret. The old man behind them says that Thunder Tribulation was extremely intense this time. It might have alerted the entire realm. They need to know what caused it. Finally, Zhengshen says that it doesn't matter where it came from. What matters is that the Empress is involved. They must deal with the sect as soon as possible. At the sect, the Empress and Ning land on the ground before everyone. The Celestial Elder, shaken, thinks that he never expected such a person to appear in his sect. That boy will be a powerful weapon once he reaches the Celestial Realm. In a single motion, Lu grabs Ning's shirt and pulls, ripping it completely. The young man becomes embarrassed and says they shouldn't be showing off in public. There are many disciples around, and they cover their eyes to avoid seeing the scene. But the Empress remains unfazed and, with her hand on his chest, uses her magic on him. He falls to the ground, weakened, and asks what that was. The woman says there was still hidden damage in his body and that she helped him with it. Ning is confused. Then she says it seems like his wife is worried about his health and wants to see him well. He mocks, saying he's touched by that. But before he can finish speaking, he is caught off guard. Tired of the boy's nonsense, Lu throws him far away with her power. Huiyan asks if the patriarch will be okay, and she replies that she didn't even use 10% of her power, so he'll live. Then she looks at everyone with a threatening gaze and says that they are all forbidden from speaking about the events of that day. If anyone does, they will be annihilated. Everyone present agrees and says they understood the warning. Far from there, Ning crashes hard into a lake. He startles several girls who were relaxing in those waters. Angrily, Ning says that Lu should respect him because he's still her husband, but she threw him away. One of the startled girls then realizes it's the patriarch. They all become shy and ask why he's at the hot springs. Ning becomes worried that his reputation as patriarch might be ruined. Quickly, he starts saying it was an accident and that he can give a reasonable explanation. But one of the girls ignores him and says he looks like the type who enjoys watching things. Shyly, she says he can look around without any problem. Desperate, they start running toward him, asking to touch his toned abs. But the young man jumps far away, leaving all the girls disappointed. Angry, Ning heads home thinking Lu is ruining his reputation, and his divine physique just made everything even more dangerous. At least he didn't cheat in the relationship there, or else his well-being for the rest of his life would be at risk. The Empress meets with him and asks if the bath in the hot springs was good. He is startled, but the girl, indifferent, tells him to follow her. The dude heads into a dark cave and Ning comments that he didn't think the sect had a place like that. The Empress says that this is a forbidden region of the sect, the heavenly demonic cave, where the spirits of all the former leaders reside. The young man is confused. She thinks that as long as she can get the manual to become a goddess and break the divine realm, the sect will no longer be terrorized by any monster. Then she asks Ning Tian to do something for her and the boy asks what it is. Serious, she says she wants him to pour some of the essence of his blood on the stone of that giant statue. Ning doesn't understand what she means. The essence of blood represents the purest cultivation energy. Pouring it like that is used to control another person. Sensing his concern, the Empress says she won't harm him. If that were her intention, she would have done it long ago. He thinks that what she's saying is true. If she wanted to eliminate him even with his system, she would have already done it. But it's strange that she married a servant. Now she's asking him for something, so it must be very important, perhaps something that involves the whole sect. In the end, Ning agrees and says he'll do it. He wants to see what the Empress desires. Using his magic, he materializes the essence of his blood and casts it onto the stone statue. As it lands on the statue's forehead, its eyes begin to glow. Suddenly, a man appears in front of the statue, laughing menacingly, and shouts that he has finally been awakened. Serious, Lu asks if that man is the founder of the sect. Ning is shocked, thinking it's been hundreds of years since the sect was founded, and the founder is still alive. Laughing, the man says that hundreds of years have passed and they finally sent someone with a divine physique there. The Empress questions what he means by that and asks where the manual and the method to become a goddess that was promised to her are. The man keeps laughing and says the girl is too naive if she thinks that the manual contains a way to become a goddess. That was just a rumor he invented. Thanks to her foolishness, he managed to find someone with a divine physique without any effort. Then Ning realizes that it was only because he possessed a divine physique that she decided to marry him, so that she could become a goddess. Lu says that the ancestral teachings passed down through generations were created by him, so the purpose of all this was for him to recover his body and return to life. The man says that's correct, all the previous leaders were useless and failed to find the celestial physique, but that foolish girl managed to do it. The Empress is shocked and says she will put an end to him. She then uses the heavenly demon palm against the man. Ning protects himself from the impact of the strike while thinking that this is the power of an Empress, far stronger than anything he could produce. The man transforms into a kind of mystical smoke and says that even if she had the cultivation power of the immortal emperor, she still wouldn't be able to defeat him. Even so, he is still in spiritual form, so he won't be foolish enough to confront her head-on. His target is someone else. He then begins to move toward Ning. The young man realizes the spirit's goal is to take over his body. He opens his arms and yells for the man to come at him. The Empress tries to run over and stop it, saying this is a terrible idea. She screams for him to get out of there, but the spirit says there's no way to leave once he's entered. As he navigates inside Ning, he says there are rumors that the divine physique is the best for cultivation. All other physiques are inferior to it. He continues navigating through Ning's body and then comes across a spiritual ocean, which leaves him stunned. It seems Ning has incredible cultivation talent, so the man considers himself lucky to have found him. He wonders where that thunder in the spiritual sea is coming from. Then he encounters the Thunder Dragon's spiritual vein. He had never seen a cultivator with spiritual veins that transformed into the Thunder Dragon. Since ancient times, thunder and lightning have been the enemies of the spirit. One small misstep can send the spirit flying away. The man is in disbelief and concludes he cannot remain in that body. Ning communicates with the man, calling him a foolish old man. Now that he's inside, getting out is not nearly as easy. The man can't believe that boy actually outsmarted him. He must have noticed that his spiritual form is more vulnerable to thunder and lightning due to the Thunder Dragon vein, so Ning let him in on purpose. The system announces that Ning has shocked the heavenly demon and acquired the spiritual destruction ability, allowing him to convert spiritual power into his own and grow stronger. Inside his body, he confronts the heavenly demon and says he doesn't seem so arrogant now. Furious, the man tells the boy that even if he's only a spirit here, he is still the immortal emperor of the realm and cannot be captured like this. He tries to use the heavenly demon palm against Ning, but the boy remains unfazed. His Thunder Dragon protects him, and the man can't believe it's even possible. With a single move, he makes the dragon lunge at the demon. He uses the spiritual destruction ability to seize the heavenly demon's power. The man screams that his spirit is completely suppressed by the thunder, and he can't even unleash half of his power. Calmly, Ning tells the heavenly demon to stop resisting and simply become power for his celestial physique. The man screams that Ning is just a boy and that he's going to annihilate him. But the boy remains unfazed and tells the dragon to devour him. In a swift motion, the dragon bites into the demon's spirit and completely consumes it, while he screams that he doesn't want to dissolve inside Ning. Now the man has merged with the boy, giving him his power. The Empress remains shaken by the fact that the manual to become a goddess was just a rumor and the whole thing a lie. Ning seems to be in a spiritual trance and Lu wonders what to do with him. she can't let him live. Even so, she decides to help Ning, since she doesn't want to see him consumed by the demon before her eyes. She prepares to help him, but the dome surrounding him breaks, and the boy comes out of his trance before she can do anything. As soon as he comes out, he calls for her, and the girl is stunned that he wasn't possessed. Then she yells that the man was a powerful cultivator, the immortal emperor of the realm. While Ning is just a black warrior, there's no way he absorbed the demon's spirit. Laughing, the boy says that with all this spiritual power, he'll gain a lot of aura. The system informs that due to the difficulty of the absorption, self-destruction is imminent. Upon seeing the system message, Ning begins to panic. Then he starts burning from the inside. His spiritual ocean is as hot as lava, and he screams that he's going to explode. But Lu gives him a kiss. Ning tries to pull away from the kiss, but the Empress says that if he doesn't want to explode, he needs to stay still. She's helping him by suppressing the violent spiritual power within his body. They remain like that for about an hour as she assists him with all that power. Then she pushes him away. Smiling, Ning says the process was exciting and happened all of a sudden. The girl conjures a small magical orb and says it's for him. Ning asks what it is. Lu replies that it's a spiritual pearl formed with spirit energy. It contains the aura of the celestial demon, and he can use it as a daily cultivation tool. But he needs to remember that cultivation must be gradual and consistent. He shouldn't absorb too much at once. She won't always be there to save him. The boy nods and thanks her. Then he asks if destroying the celestial demon doesn't count as disrespecting their ancestors. Quickly, Lu casts her magic and destroys the huge statue that was there, saying that man led the sect for generations driven by selfish desires. He is someone who doesn't deserve to be part of the celestial demonic sect, so it can't be said that they disrespected anyone. Lu thinks about how she didn't expect the manual to be a fabricated lie. Without becoming a goddess, she can't progress and she doesn't know what to do about the attacks. In any case, there's nothing they can do about it. If they're really attacked, all the sect can do is try to hold them off with its power. Even if the sect is destroyed, she will make the culprit suffer in the future. With Lu a bit farther away, Ning calls out to her and asks if he's evolving, since his body starts to glow. The Empress reflects that he truly has the divine physique. In a few days, he will have successive major breakthroughs. This speed is a rare sight. Ning is in a meditation posture as he evolves. Lu walks away saying she'll let him cultivate in peace. The system congratulates the host for evolving to an 8-star Black Realm warrior, and then to 9 stars. Finally, he evolves to the 1-star spiritual realm. He comments that after entering the spiritual realm, the difficulty of cultivation increases and the need for aura also grows. No matter what happens in the future, he needs to stabilize his foundation first. Meanwhile, in the shadow demonic sect, a young man announces to another that the sect leader Yin Sanchi is there. The man asks Sanchi if he's evolved again. He replies yes. He has already reached the peak of the spiritual realm and is now 1 step away from entering the Earth King realm. Then the man says he's only 20 years old but can already be compared to elder veterans over 50. With his potential, the sect has found its successor. Angrily, he comments that it's a disgrace that their sect is being suppressed by the celestial demonic sect. This way, they'll never be able to progress. Since ancient times, demons have respected strength. The celestial demonic sect has its powerful empress and has remained at the top for hundreds of years. The man starts getting furious and questions how a woman with such delicate hands can lead her people down the demonic path. The shadow sect should reign instead. Placing a hand on Yin Sanchi's shoulder, he says that the celestial sect will be at the conference and he must go to represent his sect. His presence there is important. Everyone on the demonic path is dissatisfied with the Empress, so they're sending their geniuses there. Yin Sanchi says they can defeat the sect's disciples. Excited, the man says they'll see how she manages to stay in power as the leader of the demonic path after that happens. Elsewhere, Ning stretches and comments that he got lucky this time. The celestial demon was only in his spiritual state, and he was able to defeat him. According to what he's heard, various forces are constantly clashing. They'll definitely face dangerous situations in the future. He looks at the pearl and reflects that the Empress is right. There won't always be someone there to save him when he's in trouble. The system informs that the full moon night is filled with aura, a great time for cultivation. Ning comments that he needs to work hard and grow stronger as soon as possible. Late at night, people are amazed to see the patriarch at the top of the cliff cultivating under the moonlight. A girl comments that instead of spending the night with the Empress, he's cultivating, which shows how hardworking and incredible he is. The men shout that their patriarch is working so hard. How could they possibly fall behind? They must cultivate as well. The system announces that he has shocked the disciples and motivated them to cultivate. The reward is a 10-fold increase in aura absorption speed during the full moon. Ning opens his eyes and wonders why they were so shocked. But he soon ignores the disciples and returns to focusing on his cultivation, beginning the 10 times faster absorption of full moon aura. While he's at the top of the cliff, someone yells that even the moonlight is being drawn toward the patriarch. Suddenly, an elder appears and asks what all these people are doing gathered in the middle of the night. A girl asks the grand elder to speak more quietly so as not to disturb the patriarch's cultivation. The old man is confused, but when he looks up, he is stunned. Then he shouts that this can't be real. that the patriarch is cultivating and those other bastards are too. Someone tells him to be quiet while everyone is cultivating. At the top of the cliff, Ning sits peacefully in a meditative pose. He's using the pearl Lu gave him to cultivate and increase his power. The host has evolved to the 2-star spiritual realm and reflects that this is good. If he keeps this up, he can reach the Earth King realm in 2 months. The elder comments that it took him 2 years to go from the spiritual realm to the Earth realm, and the boy says he'll do it in 2 months like it's the easiest thing in the world. A man shouts for everyone to look at the patriarch. There's something different about him. Ning begins to glow with his pearl and shocks all his disciples and the elder. As a reward, he receives the cultivation of faith aura. Faith cultivation happens when he is surrounded by his followers and they cultivate together. The cultivation speed will double, and the aura cultivated by the followers will be transferred to the host. Looking down, Ning concludes that he has no shortage of followers. Even so, if he manages to win over the Grand Elder, the aura falling on him will be even stronger. The boy descends before the elder with a smile. He says that the moon is particularly bright tonight, so the aura is abundant, and they should cultivate together. The old man says he has somewhere else to be. One of the disciples shouts that the patriarch made him evolve, and the others excitedly agree. The elder wonders what kind of luck he had that night. It wasn't just group cultivation, but collective evolution as well. Then he says that the patriarch invited him so kindly, he simply can't refuse. Amid the followers, he sits down in a meditative position. He finds it strange that he doesn't feel anything special. Someone says he needs to shout that the patriarch is the greatest first, and the old man says that as an elder, he really shouldn't say something so embarrassing. But since he wants the power of evolution, he shouts that the patriarch is the greatest. Upon saying that, double the aura enters his body. The elder keeps shouting that the patriarch is the greatest, now extremely excited. Ning closes his eyes to cultivate again and thinks that with the moon aura, the pearl, and the power of faith, the effect will be even greater. With tears in his eyes, the elder says that with the patriarch there, the heavens have truly blessed their sect. After that, in the heavenly demon palace, the Empress is announced as seated at the end of the grand hall. The Grand Elder enters and apologizes for being late. Lu asks what happened. The old man says he followed the patriarch's moonlight cultivation the night before, so he ended up late. Another elder comments that the patriarch is just a black realm warrior. But the Grand Elder responds that he cultivated with the patriarch and his aura was more effective and abundant than usual. The Empress complains that the boy didn't return all night and made a huge ruckus. Then she tells everyone to return to their posts because the conference will begin soon, and there must already be many representatives arriving at the sect. The Empress says that disciples of the heavenly demon sect must not fall behind in front of others and asks if the elders understood. Everyone says yes. 3 days later, the genius representatives arrive at the sect. The Grand Stone Sect, the Split Stone Sect, and the Shadow Sect are some of them. Citizens are shocked that so many people came to this year's conference. Even the 3 great demon geniuses are there. There's the genius from the Heaven Sect, Ling Ao, an incredible and calm swordsman, the youngest master in his sect. The chief disciple of the Shadow Demon Sect, Yin Sanchi, is so cruel that he once massacred an entire village by himself. It's impossible to know if he's there with good intentions. The geniuses hear something. It's the Saintess of Yaochi. They have no conflict with anyone, nor did they come for the Empress's wedding, yet at that moment, the Saintess is arriving. A man welcomes the Saintess and everyone else. He introduces himself as Lai Changxing and says he will guide them to the conference hall. The Saintess comments that she saw many disciples cultivating and would like to know who the genius is at the top of that rock. Lai Changxing informs her that it's their patriarch. Ling Ao, Yin Sanchi, and the Saintess are impressed that he is the Empress's husband. Ling Ao mocks, saying he's only in the spiritual realm, can't even take care of himself, and shouldn't be leading others. Meanwhile, the disciples say they've evolved again and that the patriarch is a true god. Serious, the genius Ling Ao says that's way too arrogant. Mei appears with his thunder dragon, realizing this is his chance to improve his skills. At the conference site, everyone is gathered. A man punches a giant rock, causing damage to it. He says the power of the Great Mountain Sect is infinite and asks the representative of the Celestial Demonic Sect to step up. The young man nods. He then bulks up with muscles and says he'll show him the way. Then he punches another giant rock, which shatters easily. The elder tells the Empress that they have elite disciples and will win everything, but she tells him not to get too excited since the 3 most difficult ones haven't entered yet. Ming appears behind her, asking about those 3 difficult opponents and wanting to see them. Yin Sanchi comments that some cultivate the power of swords, others with music, but he only wants to talk about the essence of their power, the DAO. Someone questions whether the Shadow Demonic Sect is there to stir up trouble. Then they ask what kind of topic this is. The essence of power is a mystery. No one has thought about it for hundreds of years. Yin Sanchi thinks that today, he will make the Celestial Demonic Sect the center of attention, unable to escape. The Empress reflects that if someone manages to understand the DAO, they could evolve without cultivation. The Shadow Sect has come prepared. One of the elders asks what they should do, whether they should remove the young man for causing trouble, but the Grand Elder says no, or they'll lose control. Ning bites into an apple with a smile on his face. Then he asks his wife if all the disciples of the Shadow Demonic Sect are wimps like him. Yin Sanshi looks at Ning and assumes he must be the patriarch since he's standing close to Luo Wuking. He looks like a brat to her. Ning mocks Yin. Then Yin Sanshi asks if no one there can tell him the origin of their powers, what they call the DAO. From above, Ning says that's a really dumb question and asks if it's even worth asking at their conference. Yin Sanshi observes that Ning is very calm and wonders if the young man actually has an answer to his question. That can't be possible. He's been preparing his question for a long time, and that patriarch is still in the spiritual realm. There's no way he knows anything. The Grand Elder asks if the patriarch knows the answer. Then Ning descends toward Yin and says he doesn't understand what's so hard about answering where their power comes from, and tells him to take a good look. The patriarch steps onto the main stage and the disciples go wild, shocked by his action. Mocking, Yin Sanshi says he's young and low level, then questions whether the sect really wants to send him to answer the question. Ning says it's not about age. Ling O comments that it's stupid to call that question simple, and that the patriarch is probably just spouting nonsense. Then Ning says he's going to show Yin what they call the DAO, the origin of all their power. He says the DAO has no sound, no form, no scent. A bird lands on his hand and he continues, saying it is vast without limits, yet empty like the void. The DAO created everything in heaven and on earth. It is the energy that governs everything in the world. In the audience, a disciple shouts that, as expected, the patriarch knows the DAO is very profound and everyone starts praising him loudly. The Saintess thinks about how valuable he is to be a legendary patriarch. He stabilized the situation with just 2 sentences. Outraged, Yin asks if he thinks he can get away with saying a few words that no one understands, and Ming says it's rude to be impolite like him. He then tells Yin to listen closely because there won't be another lesson like that again. There are 300 paths, each with its own understanding, so he tells them to take the sword Dio as an example. This path uses sword intent. That's because swordsmen possess knowledge about swords. If the person practicing swordsmanship understands sword intent, then they also understand the sword Dio. This way, it's possible to define the DAO for each path. A man asks if the patriarch is saying there are 300 different paths to the DAO, and that each one is unique in its own way. The DAO will be in one's heart. In the crowd, people shout excitedly that Ning helped them evolve, and that they were able to understand the patriarch's analysis. Yin is speechless, and says that can't be possible. Cultivating the DAO, understanding the DAO, having it in your heart, is all so simple. Then Yin Sanshi evolves. Ning comments that he doesn't want to admit it, but his body doesn't lie. Yin is losing it from having evolved just by hearing the patriarch's words. He shocked everyone present and received a bonus ability. With it, he could reach the peak of an immortal emperor. Ning thinks that might be the same as having an extra life. Impressed, the Grandmaster says the patriarch was able to clear up all the people's doubts and is truly a rare blessing for them. Solemnly, Yin bows and admits that this is the day of his defeat. Everyone shouts how incredible the patriarch of the heavenly demon sect is. Yin Sanshi comments that the plan failed, so the leader of the sect needs to make a move. He mocks angrily, saying it doesn't matter that Ning could answer his question. When he returns to the sect, they'll all suffer great losses. Ling Eo introduces himself as a member of the Heaven sect and asks the patriarch to guide him. He jumps into the center of the stage before Ning and says he wants to discuss the sword Dao. The show is beginning. Ling is a very powerful swordsman. Smiling, Ning tells him to come closer and he thinks this is the perfect moment to test the martial arts the system gave him. Facing the patriarch, Ling says his shadow sword is a great treasure weapon. Then he draws his sword with a swift motion that draws everyone's attention. In the entire heavenly spiritual domain, a treasure weapon is one of the most powerful types of weapons. A sect leader must truly value him to have given him such a sword. Weapons in the domain are generally divided into 5 levels: magical, spiritual, treasure, immortal, and artifact. There may be levels above artifact, but no one has ever seen one. Ning thinks that even with such a good weapon, everything still depends on its wielder. Pointing the sword at Ning, Ling Nao asks why he doesn't have a sword if they're going to talk about sword power. The patriarch says he simply doesn't have one. Someone in the crowd shouts that they have a good sword for him. Another asks the patriarch to use theirs, but he doesn't want any of them. Even though he doesn't have a physical sword, he has another option. His aura shapes itself into a sword, and Ling Ao is impressed that he was able to mold it so perfectly. He acquires the dragon's sword. A massive bluish dragon appears, scaring Ling Ao. Such a fierce sword, it's like a blue dragon emerging from the mountaintop. It's incredible. Smiling, Ning dismisses the dragon and says his hand slipped. He's never understood swords and still needs more practice to master it. Ling Ao says the patriarch's level with the sword is on another plane. He really is someone superior. Seeing no way out, the man decides to surrender, saying he lost that challenge. The crowd once again goes wild, shouting how amazing the patriarch is. As the young man walks away, Ming thinks that at least he got to test his magical sword on someone. Ling Ao asks if Her Holiness will take the stage as well, but the girl says she's not there to discuss the source of their power. Suddenly, some kind of magical movement occurs. Ming thinks this is bad. His aura is being suppressed and he can't move. He starts trying to figure out who it could be. It's a cultivator from the immortal emperor realm, but it can't be Lu Woking. Nervously, Ning wonders who it might be. The Empress is using her power mockingly. She makes the aura vanish and people observe that the Empress is incredibly powerful and was able to prevent a tragedy. Lu then tells the old shadow demon to stop hiding like a rat since she knows he's there. A portal opens in front of the Empress and out of it steps an old man laughing. The man tells Lu Wuking that the 5 great sects are dissatisfied with how the celestial demonic sect has been leading the demon's path of the DAO. The 5 sect leaders are Snake Venom, Soul Destroyer Elder, Wai Yin Yang, Scorpion Princess, and the Old Shadow Demon. They 5 cultivators of the Immortal Emperor realm have joined forces to take over the celestial demonic sect. From below, Ning watches everything. They're all immortal emperors and want to invade the sect. The young man wonders if his wife will be able to stop them. The system tells him not to underestimate his wife's power and to enjoy the show. Worst case scenario, he can use his new ability to lend a hand. Smiling, Lu asks if the Old Shadow Demon wants to become the leader. Then she asks if he's sure about that. In the crowd, people wonder if the Empress didn't hear the 5 and if her power can surpass theirs. The Sanctus comments that this battle seems inevitable. Very excited, Ming says now that's his wife, so dominant. The Scorpion Princess says Lu Wuking is too arrogant and can't blame them for attacking. Then she asks the Soul Destroyer Elder to bring out his treasure. He pulls out the Soul Destroyer diagram. Several souls fly out, and the Elder says there are 9,999 souls trapped there forever, unable to reincarnate. He can summon up to 3,000 souls at once. Immortal weapons are extremely powerful. It's said they can allow their wielder to cross realms and defeat enemies. Everyone in the sect would fight to the death for that. Ning reflects on the 9,999 souls. The system informs him that his Thunder Tribulation can surpass this technique, and the 3,000 souls can boost the power of his Soul Pearl. Interested, Ning tells the system that he wants to take that diagram. The Empress says it's an immortal weapon, and looks like he spent a long time preparing it carefully. The Old Shadow Demon says that to defeat her, each of them has prepared an immortal weapon. Now they'll see how she can withstand them. Shouting, Ning tells Lu not to worry, since those leaders are just showing off. They'll take care of the Soul Destroyer Elder. The Elder says Ning is just a brat, and without Lu Wuking protecting him, he'll be annihilated in the blink of an eye. A red light appears, and the Empress rises into the sky. She says there are 1 Divine Realm Cultivator with 7 stars and 4 others with 3 stars. She wants to know what's coming next. Smiling, the Empress asks if they dare challenge her. One of the leaders notices she's at the peak of the Immortal Emperor realm. Someone didn't mention that she had reached 9 stars. Ignoring everything, the Old Shadow Demon charges at the Empress. He says they're attacking with everything they've got. She shouldn't be able to withstand it. He shouts for the Soul Destroyer Elder to use his 3,000 weapons to deal with the others, then sends his souls in for extermination. Next, all 5 charge toward Lu. The Grand Elder of the Celestial Demonic Sect tells the others to follow him to annihilate those souls. Ming starts focusing to use his power against those 3,000 souls. He says that if they get to know him, they'll turn to ashes in the end. Someone shouts that each soul is comparable to a king of the Earth King realm, yet the Patriarch is only in the spiritual realm, and still he's calmly facing the souls. The system says he shocked all the elders. The reward is the Thunder Tribulation Seal, which multiplies the restriction of his formation by 10 times. Using his aura, Ning creates the Thunder Tribulation Seal. With it, the Soul Destroyer diagram is sealed and collapses. The boy approaches, holding the Soul Pearl, and says he wants to give them a hand in finding true freedom, even if what he's doing isn't much. A disciple looks on in fear, realizing he created that formation in seconds, and says the Patriarch seems to be a formation master. Then the diagram falls into Ning's hands. He looks up and shouts a thank you to the old man for the 3,000 souls. The Soul Destroyer Elder asks the Shadow Demon where that kid came from. He really took his diagram. Another leader says he's nothing but trash. Nervously, the Shadow Demon says he must have pretended to be weak and fooled all of them. The Empress comments that they don't even have the power to fight her, yet they still find time to gossip. Then she unleashes her power on them to annihilate all 5. The Shadow Demon screams for one of the leaders to quickly use their spiritual power. An explosion occurs and the celestial demonic palm takes shape. All 5 are sent flying. One of them shouts that they've fallen into a trap. Now the 2 have joined forces. The Old Shadow Demon yells that they must sacrifice their immortal weapons and eliminate the Empress first. If they don't unite, this will be the end. All 5 prepare to attack. The Empress senses something strange. There are 4 attacks coming from immortal weapons: the Shadow Blade Strike, the Welded Edge, the Black Shadow Blade, and the Venomous Scorpion. Shouting, the old demon tells the Soul Destroyer Elder to do something about his weapon. Then he charges toward Ning to recover his diagram. Seeing that Ning Tian is about to be attacked, the Empress becomes worried. The Empress says that if the Soul Destroyer Elder dares to hurt Ning, she'll tear him apart. She uses her power to repel the attacks from the enemy's celestial weapons. Then she sends them flying again, striking each of them with a palm. The Soul Destroyer Elder continues charging at Ning, declaring that this is the day of his end. But the Empress quickly flies toward him to save him. The Grand Elder shouts for the boy, and another wonders if the Patriarch is destined to fall that day. Ling Evo comments that the Shadow Demon sect and the others are simply too cruel, but Her Holiness tells him not to rush to conclusions as those are immortal emperors. This isn't something they can interfere with, so Ning yells at the old man, calling him a bastard. Furious, he asks the system to activate the Great Emperor Strike. Immediately, the system grants him the ability card, and the boy temporarily gains the powers of an emperor. The old man is shocked by what he sees and asks if that boy is actually an immortal emperor. Charging at the man, Ning shouts that it's him who will meet death today. Before the Soul Destroyer Elder can react, Ning hits him with a massive explosion. In the crowd, Ling Ao is speechless upon seeing an immortal emperor-level cultivator reduced to dust with a single blow. Ning is calmer now, and the Empress reaches him visibly concerned. She reflects on how someone from the spiritual realm could attack with the aura of an immortal emperor. Suddenly, Ning coughs up blood and starts feeling unwell. Lu holds him and asks if he's hurt. Shy, the boy realizes his wife is still taking care of him. The elders rush over, asking how the patriarch is doing. The Grand Elder checks on the boy and concludes that he's fine, just suffering from exhaustion. With a hateful look, the Empress tells the other sect leaders that they'll settle things later. Then the 4 remaining sect leaders flee in desperation. She starts drawing her weapon and says they think they can escape from her hands. But that's impossible. Lu draws a bow and arrow to strike them as they flee. Thus, the Empress hits each of the 4 sect leaders in the chest, piercing them. The old shadow demon falls to the ground and says Lu Woking is insane. His blood starts pouring out, and the Empress tells her Grand Elder to take care of the 4 surviving leaders of the rebellion. After this event in the Just Alliance, someone is shocked to receive the news that their 4 sect leaders are gone. The only survivor was the old shadow demon, who escaped with severe injuries. That nobody, the Empress's husband, annihilated the Soul Destroyer Elder with a single blow. The old man says Lu is at the peak of her power. How many could provoke her now? As for the useless one, she should give him some protection. Still, now everyone knows he exists. Then the elder says that's no excuse. When the leader of the celestial palaces of the Void God emerges from seclusion, Lu won't be able to oppose him. He orders his subordinate to inform everyone that disciples must be sent out for training, and if they encounter anyone from the Heavenly Demon sect, they must annihilate them. 3 days later, in the Heavenly Demon sect, Ning is lying on a rock above the lake. He wakes up and wonders if he's still alive. He feels like his entire body is about to fall apart. He thought he met his end at the hands of that old soul destroyer. The Empress approaches and says it's already been 3 days, then asks if he really hadn't woken up yet. The boy looks at Lu. She comments that no matter how long it takes, she will wake him up. Feeling giddy, the boy thinks she's harsh with words but soft-hearted. He decides to pretend he's still asleep to surprise her. For the first time, he looks carefully at his wife. Before, he had been in such a rush, he hadn't even noticed her properly. Lu says that his celestial physique can activate the healing aura of the lake and speed up his recovery. Then she notices that the young man's heart is beating rapidly. The Empress wonders if his injury has worsened again, concerned. Ning's nose starts to bleed, and she asks if it's possible for an unconscious person's nose to bleed. Then she realizes the truth. He had been awake the entire time. Playfully, Ning says good morning to his wife and asks how she slept last night. She replies that she couldn't sleep comfortably without him. The young man gets shy at her response and says she's very cute. The girl says his tongue is smooth, and now that he's awake, it's time to change clothes. Then she asks him to follow her. The young man wonders if she's being shy. He didn't expect his wife to have such a charming side. Confused, Ning asks Lu where they are going. Someone shouts that they are greeting the patriarch. All the sect's disciples are there, congratulating the patriarch and thanking him for saving the sect. The host shocked everyone. His cultivation level increased and his energy was restored. The system informs him that his energy absorption is increasing. He thinks it's incredible. It doesn't just count as aura, it's also possible to store energy to use in attacks. The Grand Elder says, excited that they were worried about Ning and are happy he woke up. Another comments that the patriarch annihilated the enemy with a single blow. In her hands, the Empress holds the acquired immortal weapons. The Wind Dragon Spear, an emerging weapon like a dragon, with immeasurable power. The Black Tortoise Shell, it is dark and indestructible. The Red Sky Sword, potent like a blazing flame. The Empress says that Ning Tian helped with the annihilation of the 4 sects, and the Celestial Demonic sect is grateful, so he may choose one of the weapons. Ning thinks about taking all 3, but with his current strength, he wouldn't be able to control them. So he decides to choose the Red Sky Sword, which is a mid-level immortal weapon. The young man takes the sword and says it is the chosen one. With that deep aura, it truly is an extraordinary weapon. Using his own blood, Ning establishes a blood contract with the weapon. All of this so the sword recognizes its master. Someone says he is worthy of being the patriarch. The blazing flame aura is very strong. Looking at the blade of his sword, Ning connects with it, and a flaming dragon is formed. Everyone notices that this is a tremendously powerful reaction. No one imagined that the patriarch's sword would be that incredible. Suddenly, the aura begins to weaken and the sword seems to become a spiritual aura weapon. Then the Empress explains that the red sky sword behaves like that. Its level changes according to that of its master. The master's strength determines its strength. The stronger he becomes, the stronger the weapon will be. It will all depend on Ning's power. The young man thanks his wife and reflects that as long as he keeps evolving, there will be no limits, and soon the sword will be as strong as an immortal weapon. Looking at the young man, Lu says she has something to ask. Serious, she questions where his great emperor's strike came from. She knows that with his physique, he shouldn't have been able to do anything like that. Ning thinks that even if he can trust Lu Wuking, the system is involved in that, and if anyone finds out about it, he'll be in danger. Lowering his head, he says he doesn't want to lie to her, but he can't answer. Disheartened, Lu says that if he doesn't want to tell, he doesn't have to. In short, secrets may not be exposed, but there will always be someone greater and stronger. Relieved, Ning thanks his wife for her understanding and says he'll tell her if there's a chance in the future. An elder calls out to Lu and says that the Saintess of Yaochi is requesting an audience. The Empress tells them to ask the Saintess to wait in the hall. She will be there shortly. Some time passes and the two meet in the main hall. The Saintess says that at the request of the great Queen Mother of the West, she is there to retrieve the Celestial Mirror from the sect. Lu says the Celestial Mirror is a precious treasure of the Celestial Demonic sect and asks why the Queen Mother wants to borrow it. Then the Saintess explains that this involves a secret of the Holy Land of Yaochi, so she cannot speak of it, but in exchange, they wish to offer an elixir of immortality. Curious, the Empress questions whether the Holy Land of Yaochi is really willing to give up even their elixir just to obtain the Celestial Mirror. The Saintess explains that in their land there is an immortal lotus flower that blooms every 10 years, full of spiritual energy, from which the elixir of immortality is extracted. She wants to know if the Empress is willing, because with the Reg Elixir and proper evolution, she'll have a better chance of winning against the Alliance's siege. Thoughtful, Lu says she can lend the mirror, but only under one condition. Worried, Her Holiness asks what that condition is. Later that night, Ning questions why the Empress wants him to take the mirror to the Holy Land, and the elixir might increase his chances of evolving. Lu says it's worth trying. She says she noticed how hard he's been working to improve, and she doesn't want to miss the chance to help him. In Yaochi, he may be able to evolve if he talks to the Queen Mother. The boy thinks that if it weren't for the Empress, he would have died at someone's hands, even if not the old Soul Destroyer. By improving his physique, he won't be exhausted when using advanced techniques. Smiling, he thanks the Empress for her thoughtfulness. Then he says all the disciples in Yaochi are women and asks if Lu isn't worried about that. Calmly, she says she isn't, but he'll pay if he does anything bad. The boy teases her, asking if she doesn't mind becoming a widow. The Empress says no, then asks if he plans to go to the cliff to continue cultivating or if he wants to go lie down and sleep. Ning gets very excited by the Empress's question. He says of course he wants to go to bed and sleep with her. He leans in to kiss Lu, but the Empress asks him to wait. Turning her face, she says he doesn't have permission to do that with her, because the girl isn't ready yet. Even so, she can still sleep in his arms. In the Celestial Demon Palace, someone comments that the Patriarch wasn't on the cliff the previous night, so he must have cultivated somewhere else. The boy tells his wife that no matter where he is, he always has to work hard. The Empress asks the Grand Elder to fetch the Celestial Mirror. He pulls out the sect's treasure from a small pouch. Nothing can be hidden from that mirror. Then Lu asks Ning to give her his hand. She says she will engrave some information on his hand so he can control the mirror. It holds the Emperor's power and can't be taken from him. Closing his hand, the boy gains control of the Celestial Mirror. His wife tells him he can now go to Yaochi with Her Holiness. Her Holiness calls for the Celestial Pegasus. A flying horse enters the hall and she asks Ning Tian to hop on. They both mount the creature together, but Ning complains that the space is too tight. He then says he's grateful for Her Holiness's kindness, but he can't ride the horse with her. The girl is shocked as many men would love to be in that position. To solve the problem, the Empress summons the spirit Sparrow Father. Ning covers his eyes from the brightness. Before them appears a massive bird, a level 6 beast with power equal to a cultivator from the Heaven Realm. The boy is impressed by the huge bird. Stroking its head, he reflects that a level 6 beast is equivalent to a cultivator of the Heaven Realm. He mounts the bird and says he'll return soon to his wife. Lu wishes for his safety. He then asks the sparrow to fly to the Holy Land of Yaochi. They soar high into the sky, and Ning comments that this is the first time he's left the sect since arriving in that world. Still, he's heard that there are 3 paradises and 9 realms. The spiritual heaven domain is in the second paradise and is divided into 2 parts, the righteous and the demonic. On a holy island of Yaochi, neutrality has always prevailed and the 2 sides have never caused trouble. If there's a place there where he can improve his physique, then he surely isn't the only one trying to reach it. Ning wonders what kind of challenges he'll face there. Her Holiness talks about how vast the spiritual paradise domain is and that the trip to the Holy Land will take 1 full day and night. The boy thanks her for the information. Then realizing he has plenty of time, he decides not to waste it and cultivates as much as possible. Curious, Her Holiness asks why there's such a rich aura at such a high altitude. When she opens the curtain, she sees Ning cultivating and asks if he's really just in the spiritual realm even while producing such a strong aura. The system announces that he has shocked Her Holiness and is rewarded with a DAO of 3,000. Ning continues his cultivation. They continue flying through the sky. Day turns into night. Ning is still on the Sparrow, cultivating. The system informs that he has evolved. He reaches the 3-star spiritual realm that advances to 4 stars. After accumulating aura for a few days, he finally evolved 2 minor realms at once. Meanwhile, in the holy land of Yaochi, a woman welcomes guests, saying that the Queen Mother sent Yaochi to guide them. One of the guests thanks her. But before he can say anything else, a sudden wind arises. It's the Saintess and Ning arriving from the sky. As soon as they land, the Saintess informs the Patriarch that they've arrived in the holy land of Yaochi. He replies that the place is very beautiful. Yaochi asks who that young man is. Then the Saintess says he is the Patriarch of the celestial demonic sect. The girls are impressed that he is the legendary and famous Patriarch. They didn't expect him to be so handsome and young. Looking closely, the Saintess says she also didn't expect the Patriarchs to be so charming. Ning reflects that it's all thanks to his physical charm. The guest who was speaking with Yao gets angry because she's now giving her attention to another man. Unexpectedly, the Patriarch who stole the spotlight at the Empress's wedding is only in the spiritual realm. The Empress must be ashamed of having such a weak husband. Then the guest says that now that they've seen the holy land of Yaochi, he wants to greet the Patriarch. The Patriarch's words once moved the heart of the original holy son of the celestial vault holy land. He's not trashed like the previous one, so he'll test him. Ning says he doesn't remember him. There were too many holy sons that day. The guest is shocked that he doesn't remember, since he's the one who made them lose all their composure. Ignoring the conversation, the Saintess calls Ning Tai to follow her. She's going to take him to meet the Queen Mother of the West. As they walk, Ning wonders what kind of person the Queen Mother of the West might be. The pair enters the palace of Yaochi. He's impressed by the reception. There are several disciples playing instruments. The Queen Mother of the West enters the hall and asks what opinion the legendary Patriarch has of the Yaochi Palace. Observing the Queen Mother, Ning concludes that she seems to be an immortal empress. He greets the Queen Mother of the West while thinking she's quite young. He expected an older woman. Then the Queen begins speaking, saying that at first she thought the Empress was crazy. She removes the veil covering her face and says that, looking closely, it seems her husband is quite good. Ning's heart begins to beat faster and he becomes confused, not knowing why he's feeling so emotional. The system informs him that the Queen Mother has a fox-type physique that is extremely seductive and is the natural enemy of the divine physique. Only by using his power can he resist the charm. So the young man activates his divine physique to resist the seductive one. He remains red and sweating, needing to relax. The Queen Mother thinks it's strange that even the strongest cultivators of the celestial realm can't resist her physique. Yet Ning, who's only in the spiritual realm, can endure it. Serious, the young man says that kind of behavior isn't expected from a Queen Mother. He's representing his sect and is still Lu Wuking's husband. Smiling, the Queen Mother says she was only teasing him. Then she apologizes and says she'll be more careful. The young man gets straight to the point and asks what she wants the celestial mirror for. Turning around, she asks the Patriarch to follow her. They head outside the hall. One of the disciples is saying that they can no longer handle the spring that's gone out of control. The Queen Mother introduces the Patriarch and says he has the celestial mirror. Ning asks why the spring is darker than usual. Then the Queen says her disciples polluted the water during cultivation, but they can handle it themselves. They just need to borrow the celestial mirror. Serious, Ning asks if not even the Queen Mother of the West can deal with that. She replies that despite her power, she doesn't know how to handle something like this. The young man reflects that they seem to be hiding something from him, but whatever haunts the Holy Land isn't his concern. He's there to fulfill his mission. He asks if it's enough to use the celestial mirror on the spring and begins handling the weapon. The Queen says yes, but the mirror is an immortal weapon. She asks if the Patriarch is really qualified to handle such power. Handling the mirror, he says that the Queen Mother is underestimating him and his wife. Ever since his wife embedded it into his body, he's been qualified to use the celestial mirror. Observing the young man, the Queen Mother notes that the Patriarch of the celestial demonic sect has a spiritual ocean while still in the spiritual realm and possesses 199 spiritual veins. The system announces that he has shocked the Queen Mother and the elders, and as a reward, he received the powerful physique card. From above, Ning uses the mirror on the lake. He reflects that the aura gushing out from the spring must be what the Queen Mother wants to keep hidden. Using his power, he also wonders if this dark aura is what's resisting him. Serious, he tells the mirror to illuminate Yaochi and cleans all impurities. The darkness quickly vanishes and the spring returns to its original state. Then Ning calls the mirror back. As soon as he takes the weapon into his hand, he feels extremely exhausted. He falls from the sky, and Her Holiness catches him. The Queen Mother asks Her Holiness Yaochi to help the patriarch recover, and afterward, she will personally thank him. Then she informs her disciples that from now on, no one is allowed to approach the immortal spring without her permission. They leave as a strange symbol appears in the lake. Elsewhere, Ning thinks it's no wonder Lu didn't give him all 3 immortal weapons at once. Just by activating the celestial mirror at full power, his entire aura was drained. Fortunately, his recovery is fast with the divine registry. Her Holiness approaches the boy and asks if his aura was drained. She seems worried, but Ning is already almost completely recovered. She's impressed by the speed. Just moments ago, he was exhausted and his spiritual ocean had been drained. The system announces that he has shocked Her Holiness of Yaochi, so his aura cultivation increases by 300. The Queen Mother of the West enters and tells Yaochi not to say that kind of thing to the boy. Immediately, Her Holiness greets the Queen. Then she notices something strange. It's the Queen Mother standing very close to Ning, saying that his physique looks excellent. To show her gratitude, she wants him to stay for a few days and choose any elixir he wants. Ning thanks the Queen Mother for her kindness but says he doesn't need that while thinking that this holy land is full of women. If Lu finds out, he's doomed. So he says his wife recommended the Holy Land to help him improve his physique. The Queen Mother realizes the Patriarch wants to go to the Immortal Spring. She says that everyone there returns kindness. The elixir will take 2 months to be ready, but they will send it to him. As for the Immortal Spring, she won't refuse, but she wants to ask something. The Queen Mother of the West places her hand on Ning's face and gets close, asking who he thinks is more beautiful, Lu or herself. Ning wonders if that's even something he should be considering. The Queen Mother of the West is undeniably beautiful, but his wife is naturally better. Slapping Ning hard across the face and sending him flying, she says he can go to the Immortal Spring. Yaochi gets worried, but the Queen Mother says he'll be fine. She just sent him to the Immortal Spring by an alternative route. At the Immortal Spring, a guest says he's heard that those waters contain a rich aura that can cleanse and strengthen the body. A disciple confirms this, but says that's not all. She explains that the aura of the Immortal Spring is contained in the Immortal Waterfall. Once it falls into the lake, it changes its original form. That's why they sit beneath it to cultivate. He notices the waterfall descends from the sky, creating a huge impact. The girl agrees, saying that if someone stays under it too long, their body will be swept away by the spring. A woman connected to nature appears and says that this is the Immortal Spring and men are not allowed to proceed further. The girl greets the elder woman, King Lin, and introduces the boy, saying he has permission to cultivate there. He notices the presence of a Heaven Realm cultivator. The elder says that if he has permission, he may pass, and the girl thanks her. They move forward, and the boy observes that all the disciples of the Holy Land of Yaochi are truly remarkable cultivators. In the waters of the lake, several girls are calmly cultivating. The boy is impressed by the number of people. Noticing the boy's presence, the girls start running in different directions and throwing stones at him. He tries to explain that he wasn't spying, he was just admiring the waterfall. The girl accompanying him says that Suxing has permission from the Queen Mother to access the Immortal Spring. The disciples begin to calm down a little, but they remain tense with the boy's presence. He's frustrated by their reaction. Falling from the sky, Ning shouts for everyone to move out of the way. Then he crashes right in the middle of the Immortal Spring Lake. The girls are startled once again, and Ning climbs out of the water, asking why everyone's acting like that. Suxing realizes that it's Ning Tian standing there. He's outraged that he only got there with the Queen Mother's permission and says the Patriarch descended from the sky just to peek at the disciples of the Holy Land of Yaochi. He thinks the celestial demonic sect will become a joke across the entire spiritual domain, but in reality, the disciples are amazed by Ning's beauty. They all get very excited, wanting to know if he also came to bathe in that lake, if they can scrub his back or stay with him. Suddenly, a power appears, declaring that the one who invaded the spring must die. Someone shouts for Elder Kinglin to stop the attack. It's the Saintess, who says that this is the Patriarch of the Celestial Demonic Sect and he's authorized to enter the spring. The Elder is shocked. She then says she didn't know he was the Patriarch and apologizes for disturbing him. Still sweating, Ning says it's fine since nothing happened. Jealous, Suxing thinks about how he is a celestial son, yet he's treated worse than someone born as a servant. The Elder tells them to proceed, as they're at the Immortal Spring to cultivate. One of the disciples says she wants to see if the Patriarch can break the waterfall record. The last one to do it was the Saintess, with an hour and a half. Suxing continues to be frustrated, wondering why everyone is being so kind to the Patriarch. It must be crucial to be strong and handsome. Trying to show off, he says the two of them should compete to see who lasts longer under the waterfall. He's certain Ning will lose the competition. The Saintess says the waterfall's power is extreme, and such a competition isn't necessary. Smiling, Ning says he accepts the challenge. Suxing quickly goes under the waterfall. Then he thinks about how they'll show those clueless women what a real man looks like. 30 minutes pass and Suksing is at his limit. He spits blood and his clothes fall apart. Everyone gets worried about the young man. Suksing walks away from the waterfall, embarrassed and wondering how things ended up like this. As he passes by Ning, he tells the boy to stop laughing, saying he won't last longer than him. Competitive, Ning says we'll see about that. The aura and pressure of the waterfall are immense since it falls from the heavens. Before entering the waterfall, Ning activates his divine recall. Then he takes his position and begins to cultivate. Smiling, Suksing thinks he's about to witness the boy's defeat with his own eyes. At first, the water from the waterfall feels like stones crashing onto his body, but there's no pain or discomfort. Then suddenly, it crashes down like a mountain. Ning focuses intensely to cultivate beneath the waterfall, but he's uncomfortable. Suksing gets excited and shouts that he knew Ning wouldn't last long. One of the disciples says the patriarch is amazing and will surely last 30 minutes. Another admires his abs, and a third says she wants to touch him. Suksing is shocked by their comments. They ask why he's so angry and if he's really that weak. Under the waterfall, Ning remains focused on cultivating and refuses to give up. He notices there's a hint of Dao connected to that aura and wonders if it might be the Dao of music. Since there are 3,000 paths to the Dao, there are also 3,000 spiritual veins. The young man wonders if he'll become invincible if he opens the spiritual vein for each path. From outside, the saintess is impressed that he's acquiring the spiritual vein of the dragon of music. Usually, the waterfall is too much to withstand, but he's opening new veins. Furious, Suksing can't believe that Ning is unlocking new spiritual veins. He faints and one of the disciples asks why it happened so suddenly. Another says it's because of his anger and that he'll be fine soon. Beneath the waterfall, the music veins rupture. Ning is confused, they shouldn't break so suddenly. The system informs him that he hasn't absorbed the essence of the Dao of music, but he can play music to strengthen the veins. He's confused about playing music and then realizes that the system has granted him the domain of the Dao of music. This must be a divine blessing. Quickly, Ning asks the saintess to lend him her gyukan, a musical instrument, and she agrees. The saintess throws the instrument to him, wondering why he needs that while improving his physique. Ning gets ready to catch the gyukan. As soon as he holds it, the system announces that the Dao of music is being activated. The boy begins to play. It's a gentle and deep sound, and the disciples can't believe that the patriarch knows how to play music with such advanced techniques. The music echoes throughout the holy land of Yaochi. The Queen Mother of the West hears the melody and assumes it must be Yaochi playing, but she realizes Her Holiness's musical knowledge is not that advanced. So she heads to the immortal spring with her disciples to find out what's going on. Stopping the music, Ning thinks that even though his veins are open and strong, he still feels like something is missing. In front of him, someone says it's interesting that he's improving his physique and opening veins while playing gyukan, all at the same time. It's the Queen Mother of the West who asks if he wants help from his older sister. The boy says that strengthening and improving his physique is his own duty. He doesn't want to trouble the Queen Mother with it. Kindly, she tells him not to reject her so quickly and asks if he doesn't feel like his open veins aren't reaching their final form. She picks up her musical instrument and begins to play, saying that he's forgotten something. Suddenly, Ning feels like his spiritual veins are boiling. An explosion of power erupts around him, and several dragons are formed. The Queen Mother of the West reflects that she just wanted to help a little but didn't expect him to succeed this much. Excited, Ning realizes that 20 spiritual veins have been condensed. The system announces that he has shocked the Queen Mother of the West. He receives a skill card, fast as lightning. With it, Ning can perform 3 long-distance dashes. He thanks the Queen Mother and she says that only by cooperating with each other can they reach great heights. She continues saying that the gentle sound of the gyukan and the sorrowful sound of the flute complement each other, just like the two of them. But Ning reminds her that he has a wife and asks her to restrain herself. The Queen Mother leaves angrily because he didn't even give her a chance. He asks the system to use the powerful physique card, and it's activated. 2.5 hours later, the disciples are still shocked that Ning is condensing veins and not even tired. The powerful physique card can substitute the aura in the host's spiritual sea. Ning is confused by this information. Then he panics because without aura, he'll only have a strong body to endure the power of the waterfall. Eventually, Ning is struck by the waterfall and spits blood. Ning is stunned by the impact of the waterfall on him. Her Holiness asks the Queen Mother if they should go help Ning, but the woman says they should wait and observe. The boy grows impatient and wonders if the dam system still hasn't processed the aura relocation. He can't hold on any longer. Then the system informs him that the relocation is complete and the connection with the host has been reestablished. With that, Ning regains control of the situation. He can feel his body filled with explosive power. The system congratulates him for evolving to the 5-star spiritual realm. Excited, he realizes he's strengthened his physique, opened new veins, and evolved. It's a triple blessing. All the disciples watch in excitement, amazed that the patriarch has evolved. Yaochi apologizes for getting a bit too excited and losing her composure. On the ground, Suksing wakes up and asks how long he's been unconscious and whether Ming Tan has already failed. One of the girls says the patriarch endured for 5 hours. The man is absolutely stunned. He says that's impossible. He yells that it must be a lie. Ning is just someone from the spiritual realm. He couldn't last longer than him. Still shouting, he storms off, claiming that he's the true holy son, Suksing, and the #1 in the world. Her holiness begins to say something about him, but the queen says his earth deo was broken, so someone must take responsibility and escort him back to his homeland. One of the disciples is startled. It's Ning finally emerging from the water. All the girls stare and Ning starts to get embarrassed, unsure of how he'll explain all of this to his wife. But the Queen Mother of the West tells him to relax. No one there is going to snitch on him. Still, she has to say that Lu Wuking is very lucky to have him. The boy gets even more flustered and asks them not to talk about it anymore. A light begins to rise around Ning, and he's confused about what's happening. Yaochi is surprised. The immortal spring, which shouldn't have any aura, is overflowing with a powerful aura. Calmly, the Queen Mother says it must be related to the Patriarch. He feels that it contains the aura of the Thunder Tribulation and immortal music. Perhaps it's due to the realignment of the aura. The water is full of vitality when entering and exiting. Curious, the Saintess asks the Queen Mother of the West if they can cultivate in the spring. The woman replies that it shouldn't be dangerous, so yes, they can. All the girls excitedly enter the water. He's confused as to why the girls are using his water to cultivate. They talk about how amazing he is and how strong his energy feels. Soon after, they begin to evolve thanks to the Patriarch. The disciples hug him to thank him. The young man says it was nothing and begins absorbing battle energy. His battle energy level is now 100 out of 100. Then he quickly leaves the water. He tells the Queen Mother that the matters of the Holy Land of Yaochi are resolved, so he will be leaving. She says he should stay and spend the night in Yaochi. Serious, Ning says he truly needs to go. He begins to leave, and the Queen reflects excitedly that he filled the immortal spring with abundant aura. She's growing more and more interested in him. Later, she asks if the Patriarch really can't stay a bit longer. Her disciples are reluctant to see him go. Ning replies that his wife must be missing him after being away for so long, so he should return soon. He thinks about how he's afraid he won't be able to resist that place and its temptations if he stays. While he's lying down, the disciples might need him to discuss all sorts of things. Men need to take care when going out alone. He climbs onto the giant bird and says that since the mountains are high and the rivers long, they're bound to meet again. Then he takes flight. He follows the path to the celestial demonic sect using a map. It takes a day of flying to reach the dark mountain range, which is only halfway to the celestial demonic sect. He's just solidified his realm and can surprise his wife with that orb of power when he returns. While flying, the system warns of an incoming combined attack from 2 immortal Emperor Realm cultivators. He needs to be careful. Ning is shocked to hear there are 2 immortal Emperor Realm enemies. The attack advances rapidly in his direction. If it hits, he likely won't survive. He uses the Fast as Lightning ability card and dodges the attack. He now has only 2 uses left. Ning looks desperate. Another attack comes toward him, but he vanishes. Below, the 2 elders wonder where he went. One of them says he launched a powerful attack. It should have wiped him out, but it seems it didn't work. The other says he must have something helping him, but he won't get far. Then they use the blood trace ability. Both of them follow the direction indicated by the spell to track down Ning. Elsewhere, Ning and the giant sparrow appear. The young man wonders who those 2 immortal Emperor Realm cultivators are. He's worried. He only has 2 Fast as Lightning cards left. The system announces that the 2 are quickly closing in on the host. Ning is shocked by their speed. Even with his card, it's only a matter of time before he's caught. Meanwhile, the sparrow's spirit is only at the celestial realm. Its speed is much lower than that of an immortal emperor. He has 2 chances and must figure out how to escape. Suddenly, something hits Ning and the sparrow. It's one of the old men, the shadow demon, who asks where he thought he was going. Then he shouts for the other to destroy the boy. Ning is shocked that the 2 elders have joined forces, and the leader of the celestial vaults says Ning destroyed his celestial sons. At this point, Ning can barely move. His body's meridians are about to be severed. The leader of the celestial vault shouts for the brat to die and casts his spell at him. As he falls from the sky with the sparrow, Ning thinks he can only use his ability card once they believe he's been defeated. To do that, he needs to buy more time. An explosion occurs as they crash into the ground after the fall. One of the old men says now he must have been annihilated. The other says that Kid is pretty tough. When the smoke clears, the 2 elders see that Ning and the sparrow are gone. He used his ability card again and stunned both the Shadow Demon and the Vault Master, and earned the Youth Pill. As long as the host is alive, it can help him defend his meridians from damage and repair any internal injuries. Ning grabs the magic charge ore he got from the Holy Land of Yaochi and says those old bastards are going to have to deal with him now. He eats the pill and comments that he only has 1 more chance. So long as he doesn't die, he'll eliminate the enemy. Then he asks the system to activate the last Fast as Lightning card. The system announces that he has used his card for the 3rd and final time. He appears somewhere below. The 2 old men are running toward him, and one of them shouts that to require 2 cultivators as powerful as them, the boy must be extremely strong. The other says he has earned the title of Legendary Patriarch of the Heavenly Demon Sect and has escaped from them 3 times already. The Shadow Demon charges at Ning, shouting that this time he won't escape. Smiling, Ning says that if this is his end, he'll at least tear off a piece of their hide. then asks the system to activate the battle power skill. Ready to strike, the boy stretches his arm forward. He unleashes an incredibly powerful attack toward the Shadow Demon and the Vault Master. The latter becomes furious that he dared challenge him. The Shadow Demon summons the Blood Shadow Phantom Claw, and Ning wonders if it ends here. The sparrow tosses him away, causing him to dodge the demon's strike, but the bird is hit. Ning is shocked by what just happened to the spirit sparrow. The Shadow Demon mocks that the beast was loyal and protected him until the very end, but now, no one can protect him. With hatred in his heart, Ning says the old man will meet death. He shouts that he'll do it with his own hands. Mocking, the Shadow Demon asks what he can possibly do alone. Suddenly, the Empress appears and tells the old men to be careful, because if Ning said he'd annihilate them, he really will. Terrified, the Elder tells the Vault Master to eliminate the boy before Lu Wuking shows up. But the Master can't move. It's the Queen Mother of the West using her flute. The Shadow Demon demands to know how she appeared there so suddenly. The Queen Mother mocks the situation. Two immortal Emperor realm cultivators trying to kill someone from the spiritual realm. Ning really is something else. The two old men are shocked because both the Queen and the Empress are extremely close to the God realm. Empress Lu appears right behind Ming and he's stunned to see his wife. Lowering his head, he tells her that the spirit sparrow died protecting him. Furious, the Empress says they deserve death and she'll make their souls vanish from this world. But Ning grabs her arm and tells both of them not to interfere. He wants to annihilate the old men himself. The Empress complains that Ning always acts this way and tells him to just follow behind her. But the boy shouts that he will annihilate the two old men with his own hands. The system announces that if the host continues holding on like this, his cultivation will be ruined and even the rejuvenation pill won't be able to help. Filled with fury, Ning yells that the spirit sparrow gave its life to save him, and he'll give everything. He has to destroy those old men. The host's determination shocked the system. Phantom of the Great Celestial Emperor granted, usable for 5 minutes. Ning summons it. Suddenly, the Phantom of the Great Emperor appears in the sky, frightening everyone. Lu is shocked that Ning was able to summon the Phantom. She wonders if there are Emperors supporting him, but if that were the case, it would be impossible for her not to notice. The Vault Master and the Shadow Demon are terrified, questioning if Ning is truly from the spiritual realm. He shouldn't be able to summon something like that. Ning ascends into the sky with hatred in his eyes. He stops in front of the Great Emperor's Phantom, and one of the elders says that this is beyond his understanding. They try to flee immediately. The Vault Master is struck before he can escape, but the Shadow Demon flies away at high speed. With glowing eyes, Ning asks if he thinks he can escape. Then he summons a dragon to chase him. Ning says that this is outrageous, and the dragon prepares to bite the elder. With a single move, he is devoured alive. The Empress and the Queen Mother are stunned by the strength of that move. A red light emerges from the dragon's mouth. They are the spirits of the Shadow Demon trying to escape. But the Empress and the Queen Mother stop 2 of them from fleeing. Still, a third one is getting away. He says he needs to flee quickly and leave the celestial spirit domain. However, Ning sees him trying to escape, so he casts his magic on the demon. The boy notices that time is almost up. Then he says to hold on just a little longer. He and the Great Emperor's Phantom begin to descend. Carefully, they pick up the lifeless sparrow spirit. Observing everything, the Empress and the Empress Dowager are confused about what Ning is doing. With tears in his eyes, he wishes for the sparrow to rest in peace. He uses the mountain as the bird's tomb. The Empress Dowager says she didn't expect Ning to show such affection and discipline. As a level 6 beast, that's a good place to rest after sacrificing its life. Amazed, the Empress thinks that if he keeps this kindness in his heart, he will go far in his cultivation journey. Proud, she thinks she made the right choice in choosing whom to marry. When Ning's power runs out, he falls from the sky unconscious. His wife catches him shouting his name. She thinks that even though she was hidden in the spatial shift formation she gave him, she was still a step too late, and he ended up seriously wounded. Solemnly, the Empress Dowager asks them to lay him on the stone. Although she's not skilled in combat, she relies on her medical expertise. She comments that she has many flutes, and that one in particular is used to stimulate life. As the Empress Dowager of the West plays her flute, Ning begins to react. He is surrounded by her magic. Worried, the Empress asks what is happening. The Empress Dowager says his external wounds are healed, but his power cannot integrate with his body. The Empress thinks that even if she has to travel through the 9 spiritual domains, she will find a way to heal Ning Tian. Trying to reassure her, the Empress Dowager says she knows a way to heal the young man. The Yaochi elixir still needs 2 months to be ready, but if they give it to Ning, there may be a glimmer of hope. The Empress begs them to give him the elixir. The Empress Dowager explains again that they'll have to wait 2 months for it to mature. If taken now, it could evolve someone up to the celestial realm. Serious, the Empress insists they give Ning the elixir. She doesn't want to risk his life. The Empress Dowager tells them to go to Yaochi. In the holy land of Yaochi, one of the disciples brings the elixir to the Empress Dowager of the West. The Empress asks if she's sure the elixir can heal Ning's wounds, and the Empress Dowager confirms, saying his spiritual ocean and veins are intact. Worried, the Empress calls Ning Tian's name. The young man begins to wake up. Confused, Lu asks if the elixir will really heal him. The Empress Dowager confirms but warns that it has side effects. Then the Empress asks how she can help him. The Empress Dowager of the West says she must massage him as his wife, but she gets nervous, so the Empress Dowager says that if she doesn't want to, one of her disciples can do it instead as a sacred figure. For a moment, the Empress reflects on that. Then she asks the Empress Dowager and the Saint to leave the room so she can massage her husband. The two are alone in the room. She complains that this ended up being very advantageous for him, but begins to prepare for the massage, since she doesn't want to simply watch him perish. She then begins the long massage process. Sometime later, someone calls Ning Tian's name several times. He wakes up startled, asking who is calling him, but he realizes he was just dreaming. The young man complains that his body feels like it's falling apart, especially his hips. He notices a kiss mark on his neck. Then he concludes that to save him, his wife must have given him the elixir. His hand is burning with power, and he wonders what it is. The system informs the host that the medicinal power of the elixir can be absorbed by him. Ning realizes that this power is greater than his entire spiritual ocean. With that amount of power, he can evolve to the next realm, so Ning begins to cultivate and absorb the elixir's power. Outside, the Empress Dowager comments that 2 men from the immortal Emperor realm were reduced to ashes. This will certainly stir the spiritual domain. Angrily, the Empress says they brought that fate upon themselves when they dared to mess with her and her husband. She'll deal with the righteous path people herself. The Empress Dowager says the Empress protects her husband very well. If word gets out, many hearts will be broken. Approaching Lu, the Empress Dowager of the West asks why she is wearing her clothes. Lu is too embarrassed to answer. She doesn't want to admit that her own clothes were accidentally torn. From inside the room where Ning is, a great light begins to burst out. The Queen Mother comments that Lu's husband has an incredible physique. He resumed cultivating in no time. Ning senses an immensely powerful aura. A hole forms in the ceiling of the place. Then the Queen Mother of the West screams that he's not just cultivating, he's evolving. She's shocked at how he can do it so quickly. The system congratulates him for evolving to the 6-star spiritual realm, then to the 7-star level, and finally to the 1-star Earth King realm. He shocks the Queen Mother of the West and acquires the Tao ability of music. He then activates his tenfold comprehension. His comprehension is complete, and he thinks, as expected from the elixir, it made him evolve to the next realm. Shocked, the 2 girls enter the room where Ning is. Approaching him, the Queen Mother asks if he really evolved to the Earth King realm. The Empress comments that he absorbed the power of the medicinal elixir, and like a blessing in disguise, it made him evolve to the next realm. Ning and his wife shyly stare at each other. He smiles and says she looks as beautiful as ever. Embarrassed, she tells him to worry about his body. Ning gets up excitedly, saying he's fully recovered and full of energy. The young man approaches the Empress and thanks her for the help. Jealous, the Queen Mother asks why he's only thanking the Empress, so he thanks her too for rescuing him. She says it's fine as long as he remembers to return to her holy land of Yaochi. All of her disciples will always be ready to welcome him. With the jealous Empress by his side, Ning thanks her but says he'll have to decline the invitation. Now that he's recovered, they should return to the Celestial Demon Sect. An elder says he heard the Empress went to rescue Ning, but they haven't returned yet. Another replies that nothing can happen to the Patriarch. He's a treasure. Suddenly, a great light falls from the sky. It's the Empress returning. Clinging to her is Ning, and the girl tells him he can let go now. Ning asks if she couldn't have teleported. Why did they fly like that in such a terrifying way? She says she could, but he would have died during a teleportation. Embarrassed, Ning thanks her for being so considerate of him. The disciples start crying and shouting with joy that the Patriarch is alive and well. They don't know what they would do without Ning. The young man is startled. Suddenly, someone appears. It's a severely injured man who tells the Empress and the Patriarch that the Celestial Wind City was massacred. Everyone is shocked and wants to know who committed such an atrocity. Someone yells that the man is gravely wounded and needs immediate care. While the elder holds him, he asks them to call a doctor. Ning steps forward and says he can save him. The elder master says that while the Patriarch is skilled in cultivation, when it comes to healing, he should let a doctor handle it. However, Ning says he can bring someone back to life, so he can definitely heal a lesser wound. The Empress asks the great elder to lay the man down. With the man lying down, Ning uses his power to heal him. He pulls out a musical instrument to use. The disciples are impressed, and so is the Empress, because he's using the spiritual veins of music. Using the Tao of music, Ning lifts the man's body. The elder is in disbelief and questions where the Patriarch learned that if he was being hunted. The Empress fears that the Queen Mother of the West didn't expect this. Perhaps he learned the Queen's ability through the charm she left on his body. The system informs him that he shocked everyone in the palace, and thus he gains martial arts abilities. His movement and attacks are now combined into a single skill. While playing the instrument, the system activates his tenfold comprehension. After the comprehension is complete, the young man opens his eyes, waking up. Realizing where he is, he calls out to the Patriarch and the Empress. He falls to his knees, fury in his eyes, and begs them to avenge his people. The recent chaos in the Cold Wind Mountains has harmed many cities of the Celestial Wind, so the elder had sent a group there, but only this young man returned. Crying, he says it was Yi Lang, the beast tamer. In the Cold Wind Mountains of the Celestial Wind City, everything lies in ruins. Shin-san asks why the monsters never stop appearing. The other warrior, Lai Chang, tells him not to panic and to help the other disciples and residents escape. Atop a giant beast appears Yilang, beast tamer of the Righteous Alliance. He says with all due respect that everyone there that day will meet their end. Then he commands his beasts to attack the warriors. Lai Chang becomes worried about Qian-san. The young man is thrown far and falls unconscious. In despair, Lai Chang says he has controlled all the monsters from the Cold Wind Mountains to massacre the city and questions what kind of justice that is. Smiling, Yilang says that to eliminate demons, some cattle must be sacrificed. A woman caught in the beast's claws says the beast tamer has completely lost his mind. The woman begs Lai Chang to just leave her and return to the celestial demon sect quickly. The patriarch will avenge them. Mocking, Yilang asks if she means the patriarch who always needs women to save him. Then he drives his hand through the woman's chest. Crying, Lai Chang screams for his younger sister, who falls lifeless to the ground. The tamer says the patriarch's end will be 1,000 times more painful than hers. Full of rage, Lai Chang tells Yilang that the patriarch and the entire celestial demon sect will come after him. The man says they are justice and asks how demons expect to interfere with their affairs. With a single strike, the beast crushes Lai Chang. Then the tamer orders his subordinates to hang the disciple and his sister by the neck on the gates of Wind City. He wants to display that they are all garbage. When Tian-san regained consciousness, the whole city was already in ruins. He finishes telling the story of crying that Chang's body was hung on the city gate. The Elder Master says that Tamer is cruel and despicable if he believes there are no survivors left in the sect. He shouts for the Empress to give him the order so he can gather his men and destroy that man immediately. Ning says they must wait, as it might not be so simple, but the Elder asks how the Patriarch can let them escape like this and if he is afraid. He says he is not afraid, but the Beast Tamer's sect is part of the Righteous Alliance and their leader is an immortal emperor, not weaker than the Empress. If they go on a massacre, the Righteous Alliance will retaliate against them and the Beast Tamer's sect will suffer no consequences. The Elder shouts, asking what they should do then. Another asks if they have no way to get revenge. Calmly, Ming says that revenge will be achieved, but not by those means. Interested, the Empress asks what his idea is. He says they should repay in kind, let the disciples of the same generation go for experience. If they eliminate all the Beast Tamer sect's disciples, there will be no one left to retaliate. Worried, the Elder says Yilang is number one in his sect, extremely powerful. The demon disciples are from the Earth Realm and can't fight him. Confident, Ning says he will go himself. If the man dared to annihilate his followers, then he is asking for death. The Empress tells Ning to go forward. The Elder Master is concerned about Lu's decision. He shouts that Yilang entered the Earth Realm a year ago. He may have already advanced even further, and that could be dangerous for the Patriarch. But Lu says you must trust the Patriarch. He has always shown them miracles. The Elder Master says that if the Empress says so, then they trust the Patriarch. The Beast Tamer's sect has 100 disciples, so he will gather their own immediately. Several disciples enter the palace, asking him to wait. A young man steps forward before the Empress and asks to go with the Patriarch to avenge his brother. All the others who entered bow and say they want to go as well. They say in unison that the spittled blood of the celestial demon sect cannot be left without vengeance. Ning is impressed by the disciple's conviction. Then the Elder says that as long as he shows his loyalty, he will definitely help him with all his strength. He unleashes his power to summon the flame wind. Then a horse with a fiery mane appears before Ning. It's a rank 2 demon, a fire horse. It has no combat power, but it's very fast. Within half a day, it will reach Wind City. Ning mounts the beast. Then he tells everyone to follow him to Celestial Wind City. They will make those villains pay for the blood they shed. Everyone shouts excitedly that it will be blood for blood. At the Cold Wind Mountain, the disciples of the Celestial Demon sect approach. One of them informs the Patriarch they are near the city. Ning asks if that is the Cold Wind Mountain. They confirm and tell him it's massive. They are on its outskirts. The group halts and something catches Ning's attention. He notices there aren't just animal footprints, but also human ones with bloodstains mixed in. It must be the Beast Tamer's sect. One of the disciples complains that the smell of blood is strong. Ning says the smell must be coming from Celestial Wind City. The Patriarch also notices that the scent coming from the city is starting to attract creatures from the Cold Wind Mountains. Worried that the Patriarch might get hurt, the disciple steps in front of him and says to move forward while he holds off the monsters. Ignoring him, Ming advances and says the beasts are only rank 1, so he'll use them to test his new abilities. He prepares to unleash his power on the creatures. Then he releases the Celestial Sonic Slash. All the monsters are instantly sliced in half. Impressed, the disciples comment on how strong Ming is. He can not only save, but also annihilate. Calmly, Ning tells them to move forward, and the system informs him that he shocked Lai Changxing and the group. His cultivation aura increased by 100. When they reach the city gate, Lai Changxing calls for Ning to show him the bodies hanging there. It's his elder brother Lai Chang and his sister Tao. Ning casts his magic to cut the ropes suspending the two. Head down, Lai Changxing takes Tao's body and Lai Chang's head. Ning watches the scene closely. Then a piece of paper falls from Tao's hand. Without thinking twice, Ning picks it up to read. It's a note saying she hopes the patriarch meets her at the moonlit cliff to cultivate when he returns. Furious, Ning tells Lai Changxing to gather his men and wipe out all the beasts in the city and wear down the survivors. He also asks for a proper burial for the dead. There are many in the Beast Tamer sect, but as long as he follows the trail of blood, he'll find them. Ning leaves, saying he'll return soon. The disciples try to call them back, but he uses the water dragon's step to disappear. Elsewhere, a sect member says they managed to wipe out many from the demon sect. Another mocks that the victims foolishly believe the patriarch would show up. Yilang says if the patriarch dares come, he'll handle it personally. He'll watch him tremble in fear and beg for mercy. He asks the kidnapped girl beside him if she doesn't find it all amusing. She lets out a high-pitched scream. A young man says Yilang is incredible and wonders how anyone could compare Ning, who depends on women to survive, to him. Another says Ning will end up on his knees. Suddenly, a violent wind rises, leaving Yilang confused. Rocks around them start erupting with lava, alarming everyone. Someone asks what kind of villain is causing such chaos. In the sky, the moon is full. One of the disciples climbs a rock and tells Yilang there's no one around. Someone wonders if it could be the souls of the victims coming to take them. But Yilang says that makes no sense at all. Suddenly, the girl behind him collapses. Behind Yilang appears Ming, who asks if the genius of the Beast Tamer sect is afraid. The man stammers, asking who the young man is. Ning stares him down and says he's the one who's going to take his life. Yilang says, judging by Ning's aura, he must be at most in the 3-star Earth King realm, so he's not worthy of being his opponent. Preparing to attack, the tamer says he's just a little rat hiding in the mist to stay safe. But under the moonlight, you won't get another chance. Charging at Ning, he shouts for the patriarch to perish. Laughing, Ning asks who said he can only fight in the dark. Then he generates a wave of magic around him. Yilang panics, thinking that if Ning is just an Earth King, he shouldn't have a spiritual ocean larger than that of an immortal emperor. Getting close to Yilang, Ning mocks him, saying he shouldn't get distracted during a fight. Then he uses the celestial demonic palm on the tamer, causing an explosion. Falling to the ground, Yilang asks if he is the patriarch of the celestial demon sect, Ning Tian. He asks if Ning isn't just a little boy who hides behind a woman. The system reports that he shot Yilang and acquired the musical ability of the tamer's call. His 10x comprehension was activated and fully charged the tamer's call. Ning grows curious about this skill. The Beast Tamer sect is famous for its ability to tame beasts. Most of them rely on demonic beasts to fight. If someone is truly talented, their combat power can be enough to fight 10 opponents alone. Ning smiles, saying that this is very interesting. Confused, Yilang asks why he is smiling. The patriarch replies that he was just thinking of a very interesting way to make his repentance for his sins more sincere. The tamer asks what sins. Then he says that since ancient times there has been no coexistence between the righteous and demons, they eliminate demons in their sect, which is the right thing to do. Ning laughs and says he's wrong. That's not how things work. Finally, he says only the strong can make the rules, and coincidentally, he is stronger than Yilang, so he will have to be annihilated. Yilang shouts that he is too arrogant, and even if he has a spiritual ocean, he possesses a lethal move, the Demon Head, a high-grade weapon that stores power. The tamer launches the Demon Head at Ning. Several beasts appear around him, and he shouts that the patriarch should prepare for his end. At last, he commands the beasts to destroy Ning. Curious, the young man realizes that these beasts are high-level spiritual weapons. He had been wondering where these creatures were, and now he has found them. Calmly, he pulls out his musical instruments and says that now things just got even easier. Then he uses the tamer's call through his music. Quickly, all the beasts around him are struck. Yilang is shocked that Ning knows the tamer's call, and that it even sounds better than his own. In the city, the disciples of the celestial demon sect hear strange sounds coming from the forest. Ning mocks Yilang, saying that his taming skills are very weak. Furious, the tamer asks who the boy thinks he is to judge him. No one can surpass his taming call. The patriarch says he'll teach him a lesson he doesn't even deserve on behalf of his masters. The beasts quickly turn on Yilang. The tamer tries to speak to them to calm them down, but it's useless and he has to try to fight for his life. He attacks the beasts one by one. However, he is soon attacked from behind by one of them. Smiling, Ning asks if Yilang is proud to lose to the very demon beasts he was once so proud of. Full of hatred and trying to survive, Yilang shouts that Ning is despicable. Mocking, the patriarch repeats the word despicable. Then he draws his magical sword, saying this is very simple, an eye for an eye. Not long ago, he was controlling those demon beasts and massacring Celestial Wind City without even thinking this day would come. What Ning is doing now is for the people of Celestial Wind City. With a single strike, Ning slashes Yilang, cutting through his abdomen. Then Ning yells that this is for the disciples of his celestial demon sect. The man screams in pain and spits blood. In deep agony, Yilang begs Ning to just end his life. But the patriarch mocks him, saying the tamer simply watched his disciples suffer without even thinking of giving them a merciful death. Desperate, the tamer starts screaming for someone to save him and asks where the disciples of the Beast Tamer sect are. There's no way, they're all gone. Smiling like a maniac, Ning says there's no use trying to escape. This is the price of his sins, his life. In Celestial Wind City, several graves are raised for the fallen disciples. Ming returns and asks if they took care of everything. Like Shangsheng is shocked that the patriarch has returned. Then he sees that he's holding something in his hand. The patriarch says it's the master of the beast tamer sect. Yileng, the man, is being dragged on the ground. Ning throws Yileng forward, saying he left his legs so he could kneel in respect to the dead. The rest he leaves to the disciples. The disciples are filled with rage and start shouting terrible things at the killer. Yileng looks terrified and begs them not to come closer, but they all begin to take revenge on him. Later, Ning hangs Yileng's body on the city gate. A disciple arrives and says he went for a walk and dealt with enemies along the way. Ning asks if he took down the entire beast tamer sect on his own. The man is shocked that the patriarch handled Yileng during that time and returned without a scratch. He stunned his disciples and gained 5,000 aura cultivation. Ning realizes he's about to evolve, and the system announces that he has reached the 4-star Earth King realm. A disciple says that ordinary people would have exhausted their spiritual energy after a fight like that, but the patriarch has evolved again, as expected of him. Calmly, Ning says that now that they've dealt with the situation, they can return home. Everyone happily agrees. Suddenly, they hear a noise coming from the mountains. Someone asks if it's an earthquake. Ning says no, it's a beast tide. The disciple gets scared since the beast tamer sect was already dealt with. Celestial Wind City had just regained its peace. They now have to face a beast tide. Ning then calls Changxing to go with him and investigate, while the other disciples are to stay behind. They head toward the Dark Wind Mountain range, and Changxing says he heard the monsters there usually appear at night, so it would be strange for them to show up now. Suddenly, they come across a group of monsters. Ning is surprised to find the beast tide they were searching for. All the monsters begin to charge at the pair, and Changxing tells the patriarch there are too many. The two of them alone aren't enough, but Ning stays calm and takes out his instrument. The disciple is shocked that the patriarch knows the beast domination technique. He already masters the sword Dao, the music Dao, now the domination Dao. The monsters continue advancing. Ning kneels on the ground and calls to them. The demonic tiger, a rank 2 beast, stops in front of him to receive affection. Ning asks why it left the Dark Wind Mountain range. The monster starts to communicate. Then Ning grows concerned and asks the tiger to take him into the mountain range and show him what scared it so much. The tiger agrees. Inside the mountain range are the tiger, Changxing, and Ming standing before a massive hole that emits a dark energy. Ning looks closely and notices a tomb. Suddenly, a gate opens. Observing, Changxing says that when celestial phenomena occur, there are usually great treasures. The patriarch says he'll go inside and take a look and ask the disciple to wait there. The man says they should report back to the Empress first. But Ning has already entered the rift in the ground to explore. He begins falling deeper and deeper. A spell shoots toward him, but the patriarch manages to dodge it. Then he lands at the bottom of the rift where he encounters a creature. She says she didn't expect him to be the first one to show up. What a handsome little brother. Ning asks the system if it knows what creature that is, and it says it must be a guardian beast of rank 7 or higher. A guardian beast below the realm of the Saint Emperor. Ning wonders if his domination music would work on it, so he decides to try. The creature complains that he's making a move right after meeting her. Getting ready to attack, she says she wasn't even prepared yet. The monster casts her magic at Ning, but he dodges the strike. In the air, he feels shaken. Ning realizes he's no match for the monster. He needs to make her drop her guard and find a way to escape. The monster complains that she's guarded that tomb for 20 years. Then she grabs Ning with her tail and says she's been waiting for that tomb to open, and it's too much of a coincidence that he appeared right when it did. Very close to the patriarch, the creature says that since they're destined to be together, she'll take care of him. Then she opens her monstrous mouth to attack. The guardian beast tries to swallow Ning, but an explosion happens between them. It's the Empress who has arrived to help him. The young man is shocked to see his wife there. The creature mocks that Ning's wife has arrived and tells him to watch everything closely. Lu says that a rank 7 demonic beast is quite bold to want to cause trouble. The beast replies that she has no interest whatsoever in Ning. Even so, the Empress launches her magic at the creature, wondering if she's really that easy to defeat. Something begins to form in front of the couple, and Ning asks if it's a barrier. It seems that the high-ranking guardian automatically transformed into a barrier. The Empress observes that this seems to be the tomb of at least a celestial immortal emperor. A crown descends inside the tomb, and a man says the Empress is truly clever. Then he says it's been a long time since they last met. Ning asks what that man is doing there. Lu explains that this place also belongs to the Dongxing Kingdom, so the king was bound to appear. Then he says that, although this tomb can't shake the entire celestial spiritual domain, many sects and factions are arriving. Curious, the Empress asks what he means. The old man says that in 10 days, the barrier will vanish and the tomb will open. He wants the cooperation of the celestial demon sect. The Empress grows thoughtful and Ning becomes concerned about the answer she might give. Lu asks what kind of cooperation he means, and the old man says they should enter together. His kingdom doesn't want the treasures inside, only help to find one item. Serious, she asks what he is referring to. The king says they want the pure herb. It can help heal his son's wounds. It only grows in specific places, and there should be some inside that tomb. Ning comments that the king has many talented people with him, so he asks why he needs help from the celestial demon sect. The old man says there are unwritten laws in the celestial spiritual domain. To balance great powers, someone from the immortal emperor realm cannot get involved. On the day the tomb opens, all the masters will send their people. There's no way to avoid a fight. The king wants to use the demon sect to strike his enemies. Then Ning tells King Lin that he can't help his son. On the day of his wedding with the Empress, there was no etiquette or courtesy, no word or skill. The other men with the king reflect on how bold the patriarch is for scolding him. While the king fills with rage, Ning says that if he loses patience, there will be no chance of receiving help. Thus, King Lin realizes what he must do. Smiling, he asks if Ning is still offended by the previous incident and apologizes for his son being ignorant toward the patriarch and the Empress. Lu and Ming are shocked, neither expected the king to apologize. All of his followers are also left speechless by the event. Ning reflects that it's hard to fight someone who smiles at you and he'll need to find another path. But before he can take the lead again, the Empress says there's no need for apologies and she has no interest in that cooperation. Lin is offended, as he was using all of his sincerity. Lu says that the celestial demon sect doesn't need any cooperation and can handle everything alone. Other people might just drag the group down. Furious, the king says it seems the demon sect will become his enemy, and Lu shouldn't regret her decisions in the future. At first, he was hesitant about the cooperation sent by the Righteous Alliance. Now it seems they must use their power to teach that couple a lesson. As the kingdom's members leave, Ning asks if the Empress was trying to take advantage. The Empress comments that he didn't seem to want that cooperation, but he kept stalling the king. She approaches him and says that if he wants to say no to something, he should just say it. No need to beat around the bush. She will always support him. He lifts her in his arms and says he was touched by her words, so he's going to reward her. The couple heads to a hot spring lake and the Empress asks how he knew that was there. Ning says he saw it when he jumped from the mountain. When he visited the spring earlier, he thought he should come back with her. Even if it's not the immortal spring, it's still an incredible experience. Lu says she asked him to come here to strengthen his body, not to do this kind of thing. He asks what she means. Does his wife think he's not strong enough right now? She replies that either way, he should stay there for a few days until the tomb opens. She'll send the Supreme Elder to watch over him, and Ming asks about her. Even though the king has twisted intentions, he's right. If that's not the Great Emperor's tomb, immortal emperors can't get involved. Ming says he understands and tells his wife not to worry. He'll make sure their sect stands at the top. The Empress thanks him. Then he says Lu should show a little sincerity since there are still a few days until the tomb opens. She asks what he means by that. Ming says he means her husband is very tired and needs to eat something before beginning exploration. The Empress replies that then they should take care of that. Then she asks how hungry he is. 10 days later, someone asks where that monster ran off to. The Guardian, full of hatred, curses the humans and says she didn't expect that thing to appear just 10 days later, right when the barrier was broken. Something strikes the creature, and it screams in agony. An elder, Qin Feng from the Righteous Alliance, yells for them to use more force. They want to eliminate the serpent demon that very day. The beast is defeated and cries out in pain. One of them asks why they're trying to kill it when they could simply tame it. The elder replies that the Righteous Alliance eradicates monsters. The leader of Celestial Island, Chan Bao, says that monster was guarding the tomb, and now that it's gone, they need to enter and search for the treasure. The saint says the area is under the influence of the Celestial Demon sect, but none of them are there yet, so she asks if they should wait. The elder says that those people from the Celestial Demon sect must have known they would be there and ran away in fear. A voice apologizes for the disappointment and calls for their attention. Smiling, His Holiness recognizes that voice. Ning descends from the sky, saying the demon sect is naturally present. A disciple points upward and shouts that it's the patriarch of the demon sect. They already suspected he would appear. The disciples begin gossiping about Ning, asking about his marriage and how he shocked everyone. Not to mention he escaped death several times. Ming lands calmly and asks since when the Righteous Alliance has been wandering through the lands of the Celestial Demon sect. The elder calls him a brat and says he'll teach him a lesson. The Supreme Elder accompanying Ming asks how that elder dares challenge them. One of the disciples tells him to calm down because the Supreme Elder of the Celestial Demon sect is just as powerful as they are. Another elder suggests they explore the tomb together. They can help one another and share their discoveries. The group agrees. Angry at Ning, the elder thinks that if he ever gets his hands on him, he'll destroy him. Ning asks who the other men present are. His Holiness replies that they are members of the sacred land of Tianbao and the Heaven sect, several heavenly sons and elders. Ning says he's heard of the Heaven Celestial sect before, but it's the first time he's heard of those lands. Then he asks if they're rich or something. Thinking the Patriarch is joking, His Holiness doesn't respond and says the Righteous Alliance is very sensitive. Ning just embarrassed them in front of everyone. The young man thanks His Holiness for the warning and says everything will be fine. Sometime later, everyone is standing in front of the tomb's gate. The elder glares at Ning in anger. Then he tells a boy beside him to push the gate and open it. The frightened boy says there might be a trap on the other side. Even so, the man doesn't seem to care and says that the boy is an elder from the martial arts sect he's used to treasure hunting. Ning thinks that elder is just trying to use smaller sects like his pawns. The boy goes up to the gate to open it, but as soon as he touches it, he feels unbearable pain and screams. The gate opens and a black magic pours out from inside. Smiling, the boy says the gate opened after all. Worried, Ning tells the boy not to move. He saw something. From within the tomb, a creature emerges and strikes the boy, throwing him far away. He hits the ground and starts convulsing. The disciples begin panicking. One says it's a ghost. Another says they probably disturbed a celestial soul in the tomb. Chaos starts to erupt. Another elder shouts at the disciple to stop spreading lies and confusing everyone. It's no surprise that tombs have traps. Ning hears the sound of a flute. Someone says no one else heard anything. How could Ning have heard a sound? One of the disciples says that although the legendary patriarch has done many incredible things, he's still only in the Earth King realm and shouldn't be able to detect something like that. Someone else interrupts, saying the patriarch is right. There really is the sound of a flute. His Holiness identifies it as the formation of the sound of death. She's read in ancient texts that this is an extremely violent formation. Once it begins, it doesn't stop until the energy fueling it runs out. Considering that His Holiness has knowledge of the Tao of music, they conclude that she must be correct and Ning truly did hear the flute. A man says the boy was annihilated after pushing the gate, so the mechanism must be in the gate itself. Therefore, to enter, it must be destroyed. Calmly, His Holiness tells them not to worry. The celestial land of Yaochi is versed in the art of sound breaking, and she only needs sufficient aura. She needs one more person to cooperate with her to perform the art. Ning asks if she's referring to him. Someone comments that there's no way to know what else is hidden in that tomb. An elder says that as long as they can send energy, they'll be able to destroy the formation easily. Ning asks if the Righteous Alliance is really considering sacrificing human lives just to enter the tomb. The elder asks what the problem is if Ning is there. It's because he wants to seize this opportunity, so the weaker one should help them advance. Angry, Ning asks, in that case, why doesn't the elder go first and stop throwing away others as disposable tools to help them? The Saintess says they need to stop fighting. The art of sound breaking doesn't require much energy, and if the Righteous Alliance doesn't mind, she will assist them. One of the elders becomes furious, while another says it doesn't matter since the tomb is more important. One of them says they can open the gates, but asks if it isn't foolish to ask for the Patriarch's help, since he's just a disciple of the Earth King realm. Mocking, Ning says that just because the man doesn't know how to do it doesn't mean he's that stupid too. Ignoring the two of them, the Saintess asks the Patriarch to extend his hand so she can pass the art of sound breaking to him, and the young man does so. Once, in the immortal spring, the Patriarch and the Empress Dowager of the West played together. She had been waiting for this chance all this time. Then their hands touch. The system informs that it has detected the absorption of the art of sound breaking and boosts comprehension by 10 times. Comprehension is complete, and now Ning has the ability to break sound. The young man tells the Saintess to begin the process with him, and she asks, surprised, if he already absorbed it. One of the disciples is shocked that he mastered the art of sound breaking in 1 minute, since it's not such a simple ability. A man grows angry and says he's never seen anyone comprehend an art so quickly, and declares they don't plan to entrust their lives to Ning. Ning laughs and says he didn't expect people from the Righteous Alliance to care so much about their own lives, then tells him to sit and watch. The Saintess tosses her musical instrument to the Patriarch in case he doesn't have his own. The young man catches the instrument and thanks her, saying it's much better than his. Ning reflects that he would be grateful if one day he could acquire a spiritual music weapon. The Saintess seems touched as she takes hold of her flute. Then she leans on Ning, who asks if she's alright. She says yes. Finally, she explains that her spiritual instrument is connected to her, so playing it is like touching her. Excited, the Saintess tells them to proceed. In front of the gates, Ning, the Saintess, and some elders use their aura to gain entry into the tomb. 2 men open the gates, and everyone begins using their power to overcome the force of death. Ning plays with all his strength and focus. From within the tomb, a creature emerges. The Saintess is stunned because the Patriarch emitted only a single note. She didn't expect his musical power to be so advanced. Ignoring everyone, Ning stays focused on playing. The elders are amazed at how skilled he is and reflect that the Patriarch is underestimated. The system informs that he shocked everyone around, so he earned a skill card, the House Treasure card. Ning shouts for the Saintess to accompany him. She agrees and begins playing faster. The creature that emerged from the tomb begins to approach. But just in time, Ning and the Saintess manage to destroy the creature that plays the deadly melody. Everyone is shocked for a moment and wonders if it's now safe to enter. Ning thanks the Saintess for lending her instrument. It was very comfortable to use. She becomes shy and nervous, then says there's no need to thank her. She's very happy to satisfy the Patriarch. The elders shout that now that the formation is broken, it's time to enter the tomb. They all advance inside. Behind the group, the gate closes. Ning tells them to be cautious and the Saintess agrees. Inside, everything is lit by candles, and there are giant statues. Someone asks if those statues are moving. The Grand Elder of the Demon Sect warns Ming to be careful with those statues, but the young man sees no problem with them. One of the statue's eyes begins to glow, and it prepares to attack a disciple who scream that the statue is alive and they need to flee immediately. The statue strikes some disciples. Elders try to hit, but their attacks have no effect. Their techniques seem useless. Even so, the statue keeps advancing. It stops in front of a female disciple, ready to strike her. Quickly, Ning uses the spiritual destruction technique. Then he confidently charges toward the monster. He touches the creature's head with his power, and it dissolves before him. Landing on the ground, he asks the disciple if she's alright, and the girl thanks the patriarch. Just as he thought, the stone statue moved because of the spirit sealed inside it. Spirit is the best nutrient for his pearl. Since such an incredible gift was offered so generously, it would be rude to refuse it. Using his powers, he passes through all the other statues and falls to the ground. The disciple asks if the patriarch is really that strong. There are many of them there, but none compared to the patriarch of the demon sect, even though he's only in the Earth King realm. The girls are smitten with how easily Ning handles his enemies. Quickly, the young man continues striking the statues. A figure watches from the darkness and says that he, Ling Shouyo, will soon ensure Ning's miserable annihilation. Ning finishes his attacks. The system reports that he shocked everyone around and left them more motivated to fight. He receives 5,000 aura for cultivation. Now full of power, he is ready to evolve. He asks the Supreme Elder to watch over him while he cultivates. A disciple asks what the young man is doing, and another says he probably spent all of his aura. But Ning is stronger than ever as he cultivates. An old man is shocked that he really possesses a spiritual ocean, and another can hardly believe Ning is evolving right then. A female disciple says she knew the patriarch was full of energy. He's never exhausted. Another agrees and says Ning is the most capable man there. He evolves and reaches the 4-star Earth King realm. Since he shocked everyone, he receives one more comprehension point in divine recollection. Ning notices he's close to gaining enough comprehension to open more spiritual veins. He tells the Supreme Elder they should move forward. The group continues entering the tomb until they come across a skeleton. Then they wonder if this is the main hall, where a throne sits with the skeleton upon it. Someone comments that the place is huge. Ning pulls a book from a shelf. He notes that if they look around, they'll see high-level techniques recorded. Additionally, the place is filled with high-quality spiritual weapons. Opening a chest full of gold, Ning says the tomb's owner was very prosperous. The disciples begin taking the treasures and weapons with joy, saying they're now invincible. Suddenly, the eye of the skeleton on the throne begins to glow. Everyone is startled. But quickly, the skeleton returns to normal. The Master Elder says that must be the tomb's owner, but doesn't understand why he's sitting and not buried. A disciple stares at the skeleton. Ning says the dead should be respected, and that the First Sword Sect shouldn't disturb them. The man from the First Sword Sect of the Righteous Alliance says he didn't expect the Patriarch of the Celestial Demon Sect to be a coward who fears death. He sees a ring on the skeleton's hand and decides to take it. It must be an immortal weapon. The skeleton's eye glows again. But before the disciple can do anything, the dead man places his hand on his face. A spell is cast and the skeleton rises as if brought back to life. In utter panic, the disciple from the First Sword Sect begs for his master to save him. The elder of the sect hears him. He turns and asks what's going on. When he sees the skeleton holding his disciple in the air, the elder wonders why the dead man is moving. Everyone watches the scene. One of them questions if the skeleton came back to life. An elder woman asks another if that's his disciple. Someone shouts that he's an idiot for letting his disciple do that. He wants to destroy everyone. Ning says there are treasures in front of them. Of course, someone greedy would appear. The elder is confused about which treasure they're talking about. The skeleton is wearing a ring. It's a storage ring. An old man says the spiritual storage weapon must be hiding the tomb's treasures within it. The elder is furious that his disciple tried to take something so valuable for himself without telling him. He then charges toward the boy, saying his master is coming to save him. In his mind, he thinks that ring belongs to him. As he gets close to the skeleton, he says he's going to finish it off and won't leave even its bones behind. But when he tries to strike the skeleton, he hits a force field that acts as a shield. His sword shatters completely, leaving him shocked. The elder wonders how his spiritual weapon could break. Then the skeleton stretches its hand toward him. With a single move, it throws him to the ground far away. It then continues attacking, absorbing his soul. Everyone is frightened because the elder of the Moon's Sword Sect is in the celestial 8-star realm, but he was thrown back with a single strike. The skeleton drops the disciple's lifeless body. It starts laughing. With its magic, it throws some disciples far away. The Grand Elder of the Celestial Demon Sect asks if those people aren't from the Tanbao Holy Land. Ning says they should be hiding. Angrily, an elder says the information was wrong. That is a tomb of a great emperor. One of the elders asks the old man what he was doing. He responds that he found another chamber and didn't think there would be another formation inside. It trapped his disciples. A woman says that only with celestial realm power, and after losing so many men, that tomb has become dangerous. Ming says the great emperor is the strongest among the immortal emperors. The saintess agrees and says it's not something they can handle. The skeleton stares directly at Ning. Tense from the situation, Ning wonders why it's staring at him, and it reveals its power with a wave of purple energy. Ning becomes nervous as it seems that power was directed at him. The elders and leaders notice that the enemy is incredibly powerful and decide to attack it together. They charge at the skeleton at high speed, but the undead raises its finger and uses its magic. The elder of the celestial demon sect shouts that this skeleton has immense power. The creature laughs at those trying to fight it. All the disciples fall to their knees before it. Desperate, Ning uses his divine recollection. A dragon takes form and a young man begins to scream. Then he commands his mighty dragon to charge at the skeleton. An elder comments that he didn't expect the Earth King Realm Patriarch to be able to summon the spirit of battle. They all gather again and shout that they can't fall behind. They decide to help Ning. They use all their strength to attack, but the skeleton ends up suppressing their powers. Ning says he doesn't know its full plan, but he knows the creature doesn't intend to eliminate them immediately. The skeleton uses magic from its ring. Suddenly, a girl appears in front of Ning. She approaches and says she thinks he's very clever and that she likes him. Onan screams that the girl is a monster and is toying with him. Smiling, the girl welcomes everyone to her tomb. Everyone is shocked that the girl is the tomb's owner. She looks just like a child. Ning is surprised that she called them challengers instead of thieves, so this is no ordinary tomb. Either the tomb is a trap and she was waiting for them, or something much deeper is going on. Saintess Yaochi introduces herself to the girl. The girl asks if she's from the Holy Land of Yaochi and says she didn't expect a new saintess to appear so soon after Yogzuan. The elder woman is shocked that the girl called the Grand Saintess by her name and wonders if she is the third great sage. Ning quietly asks the saintess what this third great sage means. She explains that the great sage and the Grand Saintess were two powerful figures in the same generation, very close to each other. Then she asks if the girl is the one who left with the Grand Saintess 300 years ago to become a god. If the saintess fell, the sage should have fallen too. The girl scoffs, saying she obviously still looks alive. The elder tries to explain. Smiling, the girl asks what this so-called path to godhood is and says it's better to call it the path to destruction. Everyone who tries it ends up falling. Since they are descendants of the saintess, she won't allow them to walk that path of no return. She will stop it. All the emperors have fallen. Ning asks what that means, and the girl says it's best to end this once and for all. Ning becomes nervous, as it seems that ancient monster is trying to attack them. The enemy is truly powerful. Even the elders have fallen into its trap. It's better to risk everything and escape. Then Ning lets out a shout and begins laughing like a maniac. The girl asks what he's laughing at and thinks he's just an unstable disciple. Ning says that what the girl said is absolutely wrong. Furious, she asks if he dares say she's wrong. Someone from the celestial demon sect warns the patriarch not to anger the third great sage. She is as strong as the Empress. Ning says that if she claims those who walk the Tao are going against nature, it makes no sense that she didn't follow along with the Grand Saintess. Enraged, she calls him a brat and complains that he speaks with such arrogance. Then laughing, she says it's incredible, he's like a great emperor. Ning is shocked that she would call him a great emperor. As expected of Ning, he is capable of affecting the third great sage. She descends and says he impressed her, so she'll give him the chance to prove his mortal body. Ning is startled. Then she touches his forehead with her finger. Afterwards, she tells him not to blame her. She's surprised and says not everyone comes across something so incredible. Inside Ning, she encounters the spiritual thunder dragon Veen. That dragon is the true god. The girl says she only wanted to take a look, but she doesn't want to stress him out. The dragon charges toward her. The girl quickly backs away from Ning and says that boy is very dangerous. He doesn't just have a strong physical body, but his spiritual veins could also lead to immense power. The system announces that he has managed to shock the third great sage and receive the mind-reading card, which allows him to hear people's thoughts for 1 hour. The girl says his physique is very good, but it seems that her opportunity is not suited for him. Ning says her apologies are acceptable, and the girl tells him to shut up and maintain his posture. Then she flies back toward the skeleton. She explains that 300 years ago she was severely wounded, and only a thread of her spirit remained. That tomb is simply her final legacy. A shocked elder woman asks if that is the inheritance of the third great sage. A disciple comments that this is a great opportunity. She explains further, saying what they just experienced was only the first round of the great trial. Those who couldn't handle it have already lost. And there's only one possible outcome for the losers: death. Then she casts her magic against those who failed. They all turn into dark stains, frightening the others. She then says the trial must continue and reminds them that only those who leave there alive will earn her inheritance. Ning reflects on how wicked she is. The girl says that the children of the Holy Land of Yaochi should wait. This inheritance isn't suitable for them. She releases an older elder woman. The lady thanks the girl, but inwardly thinks it's best not to get involved in all of this. The disciples whisper about how strange it is that she gives special treatment to some. His Holiness, worried, says she has another friend there. Looking at Ning, she begins to say something. Smiling, the girl asks what he is to her. Is he her husband, or is she in love with him? His Holiness says he's not her husband or anything like that. In fact, he's the husband of the Empress of the Celestial Demon Sect. With a sparkle in her eyes, the girl says he's very young and the only one with a real heart, but he has a very powerful wife. Ning tells His Holiness that she doesn't need to save him. Then he says he's genuinely interested in the inheritance of the third great sage. Laughing loudly, the girl says that's great. With that inheritance, his body will be drastically enhanced. Then she announces the second stage. A skeleton descends from above to the ground while the girl shouts that it's beginning. Portals begin to open, and one of the disciples asks what that is. She says those are the gates. If they enter the golden gate, they will live. If they enter the black gate, they will perish. And if they enter the purple gate, they will be trapped in nightmares. The girl asks them to choose. One of the disciples asks if there's really a choice. He says it's obvious they'll choose to live, as there's no difference between death and being trapped in nightmares. Together, everyone decides to enter the golden gate to live. Ning thinks it's clearly a trap, but he can't figure out what the trick is, so he asks the system to use the mind-reading card. The card is activated with a 1-hour usage limit. The girl reflects on life and death, how death is also a form of living, and how it's not so easy to escape it. So it doesn't matter which gate they choose, life or death, both will lead to the same end. Only the third gate offers a way to escape, so Ning walks toward the purple gate. The girl thinks about Ning's choice. She finds it interesting. The young man passes through the gate. Inside, he smells blood and smoke. It's Celestial Wind City. A wounded man, pierced through, begs the patriarch to avenge them. Ning hears a scream. It's a girl begging the patriarch to save her, but the tamer is holding her and says all the men of the celestial demonic sect are useless. Furious, Ning grabs him by the shirt. That he doesn't throw him against the wall. The tamer starts smiling and asks if Ning is trying to avenge his disciples. He's enraged and says he can handle the tamer. Yilang tells him to annihilate him or else he'll wipe out his entire sect. Around Ning, several silhouettes appear and urge him to end the tamer's life. Ning feels filled with fury. He wants to avenge his people and end it all. Once he starts killing, he'll be trapped. A huge yellow light appears in front of Ning and the tamer vanishes. The boy comments that he was already dead, so he shouldn't have to go through that again. Suddenly, he starts feeling dizzy. Then he wakes up startled. The young man is in his room and wonders if it was all just a dream. The Empress appears and asks if he's awake. She approaches him and says he looks confused, then asks what he was dreaming about. Ning says he dreamed of the tomb. He says he entered through the purple door of nightmares and saw the celestial wind city. The Empress says he must be tired and she'll help him relax. Then she asks what he's feeling. He gets shy about it. He grabs her arm and she complains that it hurts. Ning says he feels like she's acting strange and that she isn't his wife. The Empress starts to smile. Suddenly, several girls appear saying they want to play with the patriarch. He wonders how he should handle this. Alongside Holiness and the Queen Mother, the Empress says that would make them very happy. Then she snaps her fingers. The immortal spring suddenly appears above Ning. The Empress says that spring holds her spiritual power, and every time she enters it, she remembers the greatness of the patriarch. Shyly, she says that if they cultivate together there, it will bring many benefits. The girls approach Ning, saying they want to evolve together. Then Ning begins to reflect that this place is no different from Celestial Wind City. If he can't resist the test, then this will be his end. Staring at the Empress, he says his wife doesn't speak like that, then tells the Queen Mother of the West and Holiness that they don't act that way either. So Ming asks for it all to stop, saying he has already figured out their tricks. Angrily, Holiness says she can't believe he saw through it. The Queen Mother says they should show him how strong they really are. They begin summoning various female spirits. They rush toward Ning, telling him not to resist and to give in. A copy of the Empress approaches and asks if he doesn't like her, but he tries to stay strong, keeping his eyes shut. To escape the situation, he activates the Divine Recall. An aura appears around him, driving away all the creatures. It seems Ning begins cultivating, smiling. He says it ends here. Ning comments that he's not as simple a man as she thought. Then a river appears in front of him and he wonders if he's still in the dream or if he escaped hell and returned to reality. Someone calls for the Patriarch, and he gets startled. A man approaches asking if the Patriarch is already back. Before they can reach him, Ming jumps away and asks them to stay back. He can't tell whether these people are illusions or not, so he asks the system to activate the mind-reading card. In both their minds, all they think is how powerful and legendary the Patriarch is. Ming wonders why those disciples from the sacred island of Tianbao are acting so strangely. Reading their minds, he can confirm it's real, and it seems he's truly returned to the real world. The boy asks when Holy Sun Ling Ao returned, and he replies that they arrived just after him. Ning is confused, his eyebrows furrowed, wondering how they went through the purple door and what dream they experienced. But the young man seems puzzled about this talk of dreams. In disbelief, Ning says it's impossible that they went through the door of life, and the boy confirms that's exactly what they did, and explains that after entering the door, they encountered several evil spirits and ended up there after defeating them. Furious, Ning realizes he was deceived. The system asks him to stay calm, since it's not his fault. Most likely, the third great sage was thinking about something else. Ning realizes it seems the girl is taking advantage of people, making the challenge hard to predict. The young man asks if the Patriarch went through the purple gate, and Ming confirms. All the disciples are shocked. They then wonder if a dream created by the great emperor was overcome by the Patriarch, since others also chose the purple gate but haven't returned yet. The system informs that he astonished everyone, so his Earth martial arts ranking has increased and he received the Shadow of Sword Stroke. The host physique evolves, leaving Ming shocked, but this time the evolution isn't as intense, likely because it wasn't through cultivation. The system reports Ning's current data. He is now in the 4-star Earth King realm, possesses the divine physique, and has various martial arts skills and knowledge. Ning thinks about how he can further improve his physique. One of the disciples is angry that the patriarch was lucky enough to survive the Purple Gate. A sound echoes and the disciples ask what's happening. Before them appears a tree where spiritual weapons are located. There are also immortal weapons around the tree. Quickly, one of the disciples rushes forward, claiming it all as his. However, something strikes him. A man is shocked, as that disciple was in the Heaven King realm and was annihilated with just one palm. A woman says that's what happens to anyone who dares to break the rules of the third great sage. The disciple asks how the third great sage grew so quickly and whether she shouldn't be outside. She replies that the one outside is just a remnant and she is the true examiner of a challenge. Ning reflects that this must be why they look so similar. She says that the third challenge consists of the ancestral tree before them. They must form a team of up to 10, and the ancestral tree will generate corresponding light forms with weapons. These will be spiritual weapons, and there will be one immortal weapon. Smiling, one disciple asks if each of them will receive a weapon. Another says that if they're lucky, they might get the immortal weapon. Within a short span of time, only the one who obtains the immortal weapon will survive. The disciples start to grow outraged, questioning whether those who don't get the immortal weapon will die, meaning 9 people per group. Ning comments that this means the path to becoming a god is to destroy the path of emperors. Interested, the girl asks if he noticed something. She then says the battle to become a god was fought by many strong cultivators, one after another. Some barely made it to the battlefield to try. Now she's trying to recreate that battle. It's simply the path to godhood transformed into this immortal weapon. The distance to the tree is short, but so is the time. She imagines there's something else waiting in the lake and that it should be interesting. Plus, she'll get to see them annihilate each other. The woman laughs and says the boy made her like him even more. That's why the third stage will start with him. She casts her magic over all the disciples. She notes that there are 6 disciples from the Righteous Alliance and 3 strong celestial cultivators, likely filled with ill intent, so caution is necessary. One of the disciples looks at Ning and says he is destined to die by his hand that day. Watching everything, the woman says there are 3 more things she'd like to remind them. The first is that after the third stage begins, they won't be able to see the weapons. The second is that once you touch the light of a given aspect, you cannot change your decision. The third is that if time runs out and you haven't touched a weapon, you are considered to have failed, and a consequence is death. Finally, she announces that they may begin. Ning stands beside a young man who mocks him, calling him arrogant in his words. Suddenly, a massive creature emerges from the lake, trying to bite them. Ning dodges its strike. That is the water dragon's step. He thinks to himself that he didn't expect monsters in the lake. Then something else catches his attention. It seems to be a snake attack. But he dodges again, seriously focused. One of the disciples is impressed that Ning managed to dodge 2 consecutive attacks. Ning wonders who that was, then realizes it was Lin, a bastard always thinking about other men's wives. An offended disciple yells that Ning is only in the 6-star Earth King realm, the weakest among them, and that they'll end his life that day. With a terrifying look, he tells Ning not to worry about his death. After all, he'll be granted one last wish. The woman watches and notes that the boy possesses more than just thunder spiritual via tribulation. Ning activates the sword power through the system and grabs his weapon before charging at the others. One of them gets scared and questions how that kid can be so fast. With a single move, Ning cuts through several disciples. The system activates the sword shadow trait and his weapon follows his will. Everyone Ning passed falls lifeless. A man is shocked by how Ning managed to eliminate 5 people in an instant. With red eyes appearing behind the man, Ning asks how he can lose his composure in the middle of a battle. He also uses the celestial demonic palm. The enemy is quickly launched into the air and falls into the mouth of a monster that emerged from the lake. He is swallowed alive. From the ground, disciples watch in awe at how strong Ning is and how he managed to take down 6 people in the blink of an eye. Ning realizes that this small battle took a long time, and now many have already chosen their weapons. So he asks the system to activate his treasure hunt card, and charges at high speed using the spell that lasts for 1 hour. A man approaches one of the glowing orbs. Ning concludes that he found the orb containing the immortal weapon. The man is startled. As Mame approaches one of the glowing orbs, he wonders how the boy knows it's a weapon. That kid is the patriarch of the celestial woman's sect, so he must have some trick to chase the treasures the Empress gave him. It's clear that must be the immortal weapon. The man decides to attack Ning. The boy dodges the attack, but ends up moving away from the weapon, and the man gets closer to it. Everyone is shocked that he found the immortal weapon. Ning doesn't seem shaken. Then he says he can now go after the real immortal weapon and picks another glowing orb. People are impressed by Ning's choice. A huge explosion occurs. The immortal weapon is of intermediate level, a Gyuken. A disciple gets furious and yells that Ning tricked him and that weapon should be his. But Ning says he found it first. He shouts that Ning is from the celestial demonic sect and shouldn't be so shameless and despicable. Ning says there's no shame in doing what it takes to succeed, and the man is the one who should be ashamed. From the ground, a disciple comments that a single sentence from the patriarch was enough to shut the man down. He's truly extraordinary. The system informs that Ning shocked everyone and was rewarded with the title The Shame, which has the effect of increasing defense. Ning is shocked by the name. A disciple flies into the sky and shouts that even if he dies, he'll take Ning with him. But something dark grabs him and his allies. The woman announces that time is up and according to the rules, only one will survive. She smiles at Ning, saying he really did find the immortal weapon and she underestimated his skills. The boy asks if she can't let go of that weapon and says she never said they had to return it. Angrily, the woman asks who he thinks she is. Then she leaves and tells him to wait until the others pass the test. Ning thinks she said this was the third stage, but it's impossible to know what she's hiding. It's important to make sure the immortal weapon recognizes him as its master as soon as possible to ensure his safety. So Ning drips a drop of his blood on the instrument, but it rejects the bond, leaving the boy shocked. It seems the DAO master of music for that immortal weapon is soul-bound and the weapon can harm the souls of its opponents. The system informs him that his perception of the music DAO has increased. Ning reflects that the immortal weapon is soul-bound. When he played the instrument of holiness of Yaochi, he was touching her body. He feels embarrassed, but tries to think it was just a soul connection, not a real touch. An hour later, 4 men approach. The boy reflects that few people are left. The woman reappears and says there are 5 survivors, more than she expected. One of them celebrates, saying it's finally over, and another asks if they can leave now. But the woman says not to celebrate too early, there's still the final stage. Everyone is shocked that there's more. Ning says he already suspected that this wasn't the end. She uses void transposition, stunning a disciple because it's something only great emperors can use. The third great sage says that as long as they pass the final stage, the inheritance and treasures of that tomb will be theirs. People get excited at the chance to win the inheritance of the great emperor. They start saying that they want to try no matter what it is. Then the woman announces the final stage, which is to annihilate her. Everyone is in disbelief. Ning asks if she's serious and says it's impossible, even if they join forces. The woman interrupts him and says they shouldn't join forces. Only one of them must defeat her. One of them says that's not even possible. Another comments that their power doesn't even come close to hers. The woman says that before becoming a great emperor, she was invincible in her realm, but she will suppress her power to their level and doesn't intend to take advantage of their weaknesses. One of them is shocked that she's willing to suppress her power to their level. Another gets excited that now there's a chance to win. Smiling, she says that if they hesitate, they will fail. Ning comments that determination doesn't mean victory. A man steps forward and says that motivated by the words of the third great sage, he, Lu Kun of the Heaven King realm, wishes to fight her. She says she will then suppress her power to the peak of the Heaven King realm at the age of 20 and fight him. Ning says to the system that she's not much older than he is, but she's at the peak of the Heaven King realm, so he questions why he's only in the 4-star Earth King realm. The system explains that age means nothing. It has never seen anyone else rise 4 realms in just a few months like Ning has. Lu Kun charges at the woman. When he tries to attack her, she dodges and he comments that she's very fast. But the girl, smiling, says that he is the one who's too slow. She kicks him in the back, then throws him far with her power. The man lies on the ground, unresponsive. One of the disciples comments that she defeated a warrior of the same level with a single strike. Calling her invincible in the realm is no exaggeration. Ning notices that she uses the DAO of the palm. He hadn't expected the third great sage to have reached and mastered the Heaven King realm. Then she asks who will be next, and the men look at her worried. One of them shouts that he can't do this or he'll end up dead. Ning says he'd like to fight and steps forward. The woman laughs and says she's been waiting for this moment for a long time. A man shouts that she's using the palm strike. Even in the Earth King realm, she's very strong. She asks Ning if he can withstand it as she launches her attack. The young man says she may know how to be invincible within the realm, but she cannot surpass him, and then they clash. Ning activates the sound-breaking art. Then he draws his instrument. The woman wonders if that art also has a spiritual effect. The system reports that he astonished the third great sage and evolved, acquiring the annihilating sound matrix. Smiling, the woman says that's interesting. For a long time, she's been able to eliminate an opponent with a single strike. She didn't think she'd need a second. Laughing, Ning says the unexpected is still to come, then uses the annihilating sound matrix. Defending herself, the woman thinks that this is a martial arts ability she only learned in the immortal emperor realm. Ning should know it. Then Ning launches a spiritual attack to suppress the woman's powers. He hits her, and she screams in agony. Ning laughs and says that as she falls, he'll finish her. She asks what the hell he's doing. He prepares to strike her. Then he hits her and says he's wanted to do that for a long time, and asks if mocking others isn't fun. From afar, everyone watches and says how ferocious, vigorous, and glorious Ning is. The woman gets nervous about the situation and begins to say something to Ning. She says he can consider himself dead. Then she slaps the boy hard in the face. He crashes to the ground with force, breaking everything around. In the crater, Ning looks defeated, and one of the disciples approaches, asking if he's okay. Annoyed, Ning asks if she doesn't know you're not supposed to hit someone in the face. He thought he'd be disfigured. Two of the disciples watch in silence. Shocked, the woman asks if he has something magical on his face. She hit him with all her strength, and he still looks fine. He's impressed, thinking that what probably saved his face was the title of shame. Ming says she can only be invincible as long as she has dignity, so that means he won. The woman starts laughing and says he's really good. Tremor begins. A glowing blue orb surrounds the patriarch and lifts him into the air. Very pleased as she fades away, the woman announces that the third great sage finally has a successor. An explosion occurs. Ming wonders if this is the inheritance space of the great emperor. The woman approaches and says he's clever. Then she picks up his sphere and says her inheritance is within it, along with all the hard work of her life. Anyone who received it would be fortunate. Excited, Ning asks if the third great sage has an inheritance that can make him fly through the sky, and the woman says everything depends on his luck. Ning wonders if it can send him straight to the immortal emperor realm, and she says no. Still filled with excitement, Ning asks if he'll be able to reach the celestial realm. Serious, the woman says no. Indignant, Ning says it doesn't seem like it adds much, and the girl gets angry. She tries to stay calm, saying she shouldn't get mad at spoiled boys. Then she says it's better to teach someone to fish than to give them a fish, and that's why her inheritance is much more useful than one that simply gives powers. She picks up the orb containing her inheritance and begins to explain that she is called the third great sage because she mastered the duel of palm, music, and fist. Ning asks if the duel can turn someone into a sage, and if the highest realm isn't the peak, then it doesn't make sense that she became a sage. The woman asks if he's saying there's no way, and if someone really believes the highest realm is the peak of the duel. Ning thinks he needs to practice patience. Then the woman says they should stop with the teasing. She says the realm of the great emperor is truly the peak, but it's also the level of the sage, and for those in the god realm, even greater levels exist. Ning thinks that's how things are when competing against an opponent of the same level. The comparison isn't just an aura, but also an understanding. He asks the woman if after becoming a great emperor, she was able to comprehend the level of wisdom. The woman replies yes, and within is her knowledge of the duel of palm and fist. Then she tells Ming to see how much she can understand. Curious, the boy asks about her duel of music. Annoyed, she says she hates to admit it, but her music power is already strong enough. Ning is happy to hear that and tells her not to be ashamed. The girl thinks about how that kid is really terrible. Then she shouts that she won't waste her time talking to him anymore and tells him to go learn something. Ning is struck by the knowledge sphere of the third great sage. He is startled. Then he feels filled with power. It's a vast amount of knowledge he can absorb all at once. The woman wonders how fast Ning can learn all of it. He gains access to various fist techniques, like her roar and her whistle. Ning thinks with all that, the girl truly deserves the title of third great sage. The system informs that it detected the host is absorbing knowledge about fist and palm, and that the absorption has reached proficiency level. The boy returns and the girl asks how it went, but he says he's still not skilled enough. She replies that it's fine, and that with his talent, he'll understand everything in a few months. Ning says he only reached the level of proficiency. He thought he'd learn everything more quickly. The woman begins telling him not to be discouraged. Then she suddenly seems startled. She asks if he truly understood everything and actually reached proficiency. She says it took her 10 years to reach that level, but he did it in just half an hour. Since ancient times, no one has ever heard of a genius who could gain that level of understanding in only half an hour. If that boy becomes a great emperor, without a doubt, he'll enter the god realm. Then she tells him not to tell anyone that he understood everything in half an hour, not even a great emperor. Ning asks why. The one explains that their world is not just the 3 heavens and 9 spiritual domains. There are many other vast lands, even restricted regions. Startled, Ning asks if there's another continent in that world. Then the woman asks if he knows what his celestial physique really is. The boy says he doesn't know much about it. She explains that over the years, the understanding of the laws of heaven and earth cultivation has grown. The sacred physique comprehends these laws better and masters more advanced ones. As an example, she mentions the law of life, and Ning asks what that is. She explains that it is the law that governs life and death, and someone with the sacred physique can become the great emperor of their own life. Then she asks if he now understands why she doesn't want him to tell anyone about it. Ning says that if he doesn't grow strong, he'll likely be annihilated. The woman points to the sphere with her third great sage abilities and says she gave that to herself, and it's good for his cultivation. Ning says he already has abilities. The divine recollection is an ability that matches his sacred physique, and he can't cultivate other abilities along with it. She asks what he would do if she told him that it cultivates all 3,000 abilities at the level of the sage. She asks if he wasn't already practicing the 3,000 great abilities, and Ning says yes, but he didn't understand what they had to do with higher abilities. The one explains that the more duel paths there are, the harder it is to advance in the future. He might reach the peak level, and that would be impossible to surpass. Ning comments that she mastered palm, fist, and music at the sage level and asks if it was because of those abilities. She confirms and says that Ning's physique is compatible with her abilities and he can even go beyond the sage level. That way, he could reach sage level in the 3,000 great abilities. Either someone powerful appeared. it would still shock the entire world. Ning thinks about how this is more of a secondary ability and won't conflict with his divine recollection. The woman tells him not to worry, she just doesn't want her abilities to be lost over time, and with Ning's physique, learning both abilities won't be difficult. Then she wishes him good luck in his training, and says that when he succeeds, she will naturally be freed from that state. Seriously, Ning tells her to rest easy because he won't let those abilities be lost. The system reports that the host has absorbed the understanding of the third great sage's abilities. Outside, the holiness wonders why those who entered haven't returned yet, and if they are in some kind of danger. The Elder Master hopes the Patriarch is safe, otherwise he doesn't know how he'll be able to face the Empress. Another says there's no way Ning made it out alive. Suddenly, portals open high above and the 3 warriors who entered the final stage of the challenge emerge. The third great sage appears and says the test is over. The holiness seems worried, but the woman says she found a suitable successor. Even so, the holiness is confused. She wants to know if the Patriarch is alive. The Great Elder is startled and says it's not possible that their Patriarch has died. Another Elder laughs and says he knew this would happen. After all, a kid from the Earth King realm couldn't stay lucky forever. The Elder Master becomes furious with the girl and says that if the Patriarchs die because of her, he will destroy her tomb and the Empress will shatter her bones. Angrily, the girl asks if she ever said the boy was dead and says that he accepted her inheritance. Everyone is shocked that the 3 who fell from the portals weren't the ones who received her inheritance. But to the girl, that seems obvious. The holiness asks if that means the Patriarch is still alive and received her inheritance. The girl confirms it. Very excited, the Elder Master starts laughing and celebrating, saying he knew his Patriarch wouldn't fall so easily. Another Elder shouts that now that she's found her successor, she should let everyone else go. However, the girl says that none of them are allowed to leave until the boy fully comprehends the inheritance. The Elder asks why, and another says the boy might need 10 years to understand it, and they'll be stuck there. The woman says she doesn't care and tells them not to forget who's in charge down there. A bright light shoots down from the ceiling at high speed, startling everyone. The third great sage wonders if Ning really understood everything in just half an hour. A kind of dome begins to crack. Inside it is Ning, slightly asleep. He opens his eyes and thanks the third great sage. She approaches him and says he comprehended her inheritance in half an hour, and now he's one step away from the Heaven King realm. One of the disciples is shocked that he's now at the 9-star Earth King realm, since when he arrived at the tomb, he was only at 4 stars. Holiness notices that he evolved 5 times in just a few hours. A young man is indignant that Ning is right behind him, only 1 star away. His cultivation speed is terrifyingly fast. Excited, the Elder Master of the Celestial Demonic Sects says that their Patriarch is truly the best. Smiling, the third great sage says that now that her inheritance has been understood, she will fulfill her promise and they may leave there alive. Then she gives Ning a ring containing all the treasures of that tomb. Now they are his. The young man takes the object and thanks her. Other disciples are shocked that all the treasures are in there and that Ning received both the inheritance and the treasures. An elder reflects that now all the disciples of the Righteous Alliance have been annihilated. Another observes that Ning is growing too fast and may disrupt their plans in the future. Both elders of the Righteous Alliance conclude that this boy cannot be allowed to grow any further. One of them asks the girl to let them go now that Ning has understood everything. He thinks that once they're out, they'll be able to eliminate the Patriarch without even giving him a burial. The third great sage says that now that the inheritance has been delivered, her remaining soul will not last much longer and the tomb will be destroyed. Smiling, Ning thanks the girl. She becomes shy at the gratitude. Then the girl approaches Holiness and says she has one final request. She wants her bones to return to the holy land of Yaochi to be cremated. Holiness wonders if she wants to be burned together with the great Holiness Yoggswan, and the girl confirms. A woman meditates beneath a waterfall and someone calls for the little sage. She smiles. The girl hugs her from behind and comments that she has come to the immortal spring to cultivate again. She says the woman has worked hard and needs to relax a bit. The third great sage becomes nervous and asks the great Holiness not to cause trouble. She comments that the celestial DAO is about paving a path to become a god, but the two of them have been stuck in the immortal emperor realm for too long. She needs to work hard to be worthy of walking that path and becoming a goddess. Serious, she says she still has a lot of work to do. Her friend tells her not to worry and places her hand on her face, then says she will accompany her on the path she is walking. After that, there would be much blood and many bodies along that road. The great sage says that after Yoggswan's departure, they never saw each other again. Curious, Ning raises his hand and asks if he can know how the great Holiness helped her relax. Stressed, the third great sage says if he keeps that up, she'll make sure he stays there with her forever. Ning apologizes. The elder asks the great sage to rest in peace, as they will ensure her last wish is fulfilled. Looking at Ning, the woman asks him not to waste her inheritance. The young man says not to worry, he will make her skills known. She finally manages to relax, then says she'll soon be with her friend Yoggswan. Holiness comments to the Patriarch that they promised to take him back to Yaochi, then asks if he'd like to go with her. The young man reflects for a while. If he doesn't go home after finishing there, his wife will definitely cut a piece off him. But rejecting the sage would be disrespectful. While Holiness waits anxiously for an answer, the elder master of the celestial demonic sect speaks to Ning. He says that now that the patriarch has the inheritance, he should go to the celestial demonic sect as soon as possible. The boy agrees. Then he apologizes to Holiness and says he will visit her on another occasion. Suddenly, the whole tomb begins to shake. Holiness falls on top of Ning. He's startled by how close she is. Then he asks her to stay there and calls the Great Elder to check what's going on. He and the Elder head out. They exit the tomb. A dragon falls lifeless, and the Great Elder wonders who could be so bold. One of the old men from the Righteous Alliance appears and says that Bastard finally came out of the tomb. The Elder shouts the names Qian Feng and Jian Mei and asks what they're doing, and if they intend to steal the inheritance. The man says he wants not only the inheritance, but also his life. The Great Elder asks if it's just the two of them and says they'll see if they can escape. The old man says the Elder is indeed very strong, close to the immortal Emperor realm, but they won't be his only opponents. Behind the duo, a young man appears. Is the leader of the first sword sect, the Sword of Benevolence. The young man asks how he dares speak of him. Then he unleashes his power against the Grand Elder of the Celestial Demon Sect. An explosion occurs in front of Ning. The boy approaches the Grand Elder, and the old man tells the patriarch to flee, as that man is a true immortal emperor. The leader of the first sword sect looks at Ning and asks if he is the patriarch of the Celestial Demon Sect. Ning is outraged at how he always runs into powerful immortal emperors. Mocking him, the man says Ning is nothing but trash from the Earth King realm. One of the old men from the Righteous Alliance laughs, saying that finally that brat is going to lose his life. The strike is about to hit Ning. A massive explosion happens. Everyone wonders what happened to the patriarch. But Ning emerges unscathed from the attack, leaving the elders confused as to how someone from the Earth King realm survived an attack from a 2-star immortal emperor. Ming asks the system if his facial defense isn't a bit too high. It confirms, but warns that if any other part of his body is hit, he will take damage. The leader of the first sword sect says it's impossible for someone from the Earth King realm to survive that. Then he unleashes his power again at Ning. The boy realizes he has to intercept the attack with his face, but it's too fast and he fears he won't make it in time. The man curses Ning, calling him a stubborn brat as he strikes. The boy is sent flying, hit hard. The Holiness arrives running and asks if the patriarch is okay. The man who attacked Ning is shocked that the boy isn't seriously injured despite being hit by his strike. Ning tells the Holiness that he's fine. The system reports that he astonished the Sword of Benevolence and was rewarded with a teleportation card. That card allows him to perform a short-distance instant movement and can be used once. The third great sage appears and asks how a mere almost emperor dares harm her hair. The man realizes this is her tomb, but says that she is no longer an empress. Since she's dead, a spirit cannot attack him. Smiling, the third great sage tells Ning to watch carefully because she will show him how to use the skills of fist and palm. She says the palm must be strong enough to move mountains and rivers, then prepares to strike. The man becomes frightened. Then the palm is unleashed upon him and he is subjected to immense suppression. He uses sword slashes against the third great sage. Their attacks clash. He panics and wonders if that is the power of a great emperor. He also questions how a mere spirit can resist. Suddenly, a light descends from the sky and a man appears. The leader of the first sword sect becomes excited that this man has arrived. The Holiness is alarmed. It's the righteous great emperor. Ning says he didn't expect to meet that old man there. The great emperor commands the lingering spirit to be dismissed. Then the third great sage begins to be pulled away. Yaochi shouts that she still hasn't taken the sage to her holy land, Yaochi. The third great sage says that this is a disgrace. In the end, she didn't get to be burned alongside her companion. A huge explosion occurs and Ning catches the girl in midair. She thanks him, but the boy says that's the least he could do. Unfortunately, the system gave him the teleportation card, but even if the three of them join forces, they may not be able to defeat that man. The great emperor wonders how Ning managed to save her with such low cultivation. He concludes there must be something strange about that boy. The system reports that Ning astonished the righteous emperor and received the great emperor's summoning card, which can be used once. Ning gets excited. He approaches the man, then tells the third great sage to leave it to him. The righteous emperor mocks him for being from the Earth King realm and daring to challenge him. Ning says that when the emperor is running away later, he'll understand where all that courage came from. Then he calls the system and asks it to use the great emperor's summoning card. He summons his wife, Lu Wuking, and the Queen Mother of the West. The system confirms that the card was used and he has summoned Lu and the Queen Mother. The third great sage is shocked as from the heavens descends the aura of two great empresses. The Holiness finds it familiar. Suddenly, the Empress and the Queen Mother appear in the sky. The Empress is shocked and says she was suddenly teleported. The Queen Mother says she was about to take a bath when she appeared there. The righteous emperor is startled by this and wonders what trick that boy used to summon both of them at once. She asks him who's hurting him, and the boy says it's the great emperor. The old man is indignant. Furious, the empress asks the righteous emperor if it isn't highly inappropriate for him to attack someone from the Earth King realm. Trying to defend himself, the righteous emperor tells the queen mother that she should remain neutral and never get involved in conflicts or choose sides. The queen mother tells him to think of an excuse first, and the old man says he is the great emperor, leader of the righteous alliance. But before he can say anything else, something surprises him. It's the Empress appearing before him, saying that it doesn't matter who he is. If he's hurting her husband, she'll destroy him. Grabbing her sword, the Empress asks if the righteous emperor really thinks he can provoke her celestial demonic sect with the power of his little righteous alliance. The old man is impressed, since her sword is an immortal weapon. He says they need to be careful, because if they fight, the entire mountain might collapse. The Empress asks why she should care about that. Shocked, Ning wonders if her sword mastery has reached the level of wisdom. The third great sage tells him to watch the fight carefully. He thinks about how his wife has never used such a powerful attack in front of him. She truly has been hiding her talent. With all her might, the Empress attacks the righteous emperor. He tries to defend himself. A massive explosion erupts before everyone. The queen mother steps forward. She pulls out her flute and begins to play. Mockingly, she says it seems Ning's wife is really angry. Then smiling, she tells Lu to be careful not to hurt her beloved husband with all that power. The Empress continues trying to strike the Emperor. Then she tells the Queen Mother not to be annoying, since she also has a purpose there. Finally, the Empress asks the Queen Mother to protect Ning, as she doesn't plan on holding back. With another movement, she continues advancing on the old man, and this time he can't defend himself. Huge shockwaves shake the sky, and Ning watches it all, thinking that one day he'll be as strong as her or even stronger. The righteous Emperor falls to the ground defeated. He complains that the Empress started a grudge with the Righteous Alliance over a boy. Behind him, Ming says his wife is a winner, but she says that Emperor has always been afraid of death, so that probably wasn't even really him. She strikes the old man, who vanishes. It was just a shadow of the great Emperor. The men who set up the ambush for Ning start running, saying the Empress is too powerful and even defeated the Emperor. But she sees them escaping and asks where they think they're going. The Empress strikes all three, then descends in front of her husband. She approaches and asks how he's feeling. The boy says he's fine now and that she's very kind to him. While they're exchanging affection, the Queen Mother says they should stop with all the public displays of love. Then she says she was about to take a bath when the Patriarch dragged her there. The boy is shocked, and she confirms she was only wearing a towel and now wants an explanation for the situation. Ning gets nervous, unsure how to explain. He can't reveal the Great Emperor summoning card. The Empress defends her husband, saying Ming has his own methods and they shouldn't talk about it anymore. Very happy, the boy thanks his wife for helping him escape. The Queen Mother says that boy is getting more and more mysterious. Holiness asks the third great sage what's happening. She begins to fade and says she's just a lingering spirit and her future has been sealed. Desperate, Holiness tells the Queen Mother that the third great sage wished to be the one in charge alongside Great Holiness Yogzuan. They must take her quickly. Sadly, the Queen Mother says they are too far from their land and the third great sage wouldn't survive the journey. As she fades, the sage says it's all right. Reaching the heavens and meeting Yogzuan eventually doesn't sound so bad. She stops in front of Ning and smiles. He asks her not to worry because he won't let her legacy be forgotten. Before disappearing completely, she thanks Ning. He thinks about how one day he will be someone capable of fighting an emperor face to face. Time passes, and meanwhile, in another spiritual domain, the righteous emperor hides in a chamber. He reflects on how, because of Ning, the Empress destroyed his powerful shadow clone. Even the Queen Mother helped and didn't take the Righteous Alliance seriously. A man appears before the righteous emperor and says he seems quite angry, then asks if he arrived at a bad time. The Emperor asks that man when he will come out of seclusion, because now even the Queen Mother is siding with the celestial demon sect. The man laughs and tells the old one not to worry. He recently fainted and has approached the boundary of the next realm. The righteous emperor is shocked and says that the man is walking the path to become a god even without participating in the battle for the divine throne. He replies that he's not a true god yet, but already at a level stronger than a great emperor. He calls it the false god. Soon, the Queen Mother, the Empress, and that damn Patriarch will all be dead beneath his feet. 15 days later, in the celestial demon sect, the Empress tells Ming that his wounds are almost healed. He comments that she takes very good care of her husband. Then he asks how he can repay her. They lie down on the bed. The Empress asks if the third great sage didn't leave him a ring. The boy says yes, and that she said all the treasures are in it. Ning says he wonders what kind of good things are inside, and smiling, the Empress tells him to be mentally prepared for it. Confused, he asks what she means by that. Suddenly, the ring begins to emit a great light, startling both of them. Something comes out of the ring. Ming falls into an empty space and realizes that he's probably inside the storage ring. He wonders why it's so empty and if the woman tricked him. When he lands at the bottom, he finds a chest. He concludes that the treasures are probably inside. Upon opening it, he finds another chest. Already frustrated, he decides to open this second one. To Ming's surprise, it's several chests, one inside the other. Ming gets angry at the third great sage. Then he opens the last chest. From inside it comes the third great sage, laughing and saying that the boy is too ambitious and that the greatest treasure in her tomb is her inheritance. Ning gets furious. Smiling, the woman tells him to consider it a final act of affection for the new generation. She takes a scroll in her hand and hands it to Ning, who catches it in midair. As soon as he grabs the scroll, he appears again in the room with his wife. She asks how it went, and he asks if she knew there was nothing in the storage ring. Lu says that just proves the third great sage isn't only the poorest empress, but also the most greedy. If he's looking for treasure, he'll be disappointed. Ming says it's just a scroll. The empress comments that she didn't expect the third great sage to leave behind something so good. Then he asks if the scroll is really that special. Looking at the scroll, she says that if that formula is turned into a pill, it could help him reach the intermediate stage of the great success of his physique. She then says the celestial demon sect has all the listed ingredients, but the thunder heart fruit and the phoenix ice grass she will have to search for. Ming reflects that he can't depend on his wife's power forever. He needs to evolve quickly, so he says he'll find the ingredients himself. He comments that their sect is going through difficult times, and it might draw attention if she searches for the ingredients, so he will handle it. However, he says he's still not sure about the details of the prescription. Then he pulls Lu close and says she should help him study and take care of that formula. She agrees. The couple lies on the bed to review the scroll. Meanwhile, two little birds sleep together. Later, Ning leaves the palace. He reflects on how happy his wife was after their study session. They should do that more often. Now that he has mastered the Diao of music, the sword, and the palm, he only needs to master the Diao of the fist. A man has his attention drawn. It's because Ning descends from the sky right in front of him. He then greets him. Immediately after, he is startled because in just a few months, the patriarch has reached the 9-star Earth King realm. The system informs that he has shocked the elder and received as a reward the restoration of martial art, which allows full comprehension of a martial technique. The elder who guards the scroll vault of the celestial demonic sect asks which floor the patriarch wants to go to this time. Ning replies, the 5th. Then the elder tells a disciple to move all martial art techniques from the 1st to the 4th floor. Ning comments that he's only practicing martial arts and the elder doesn't need to act like a crisis is about to happen or like he's going to destroy everything. He begins walking through the 5th floor's corridors, observing the various fist techniques. He wants something worthy of the third great sage's power. On a shelf, Ning finds a scroll that teaches the Flaming Tyrant Fist, ranked as mid-earth level. The system informs that it can be restored. It then asks Ning if he would like to do that. The young man reflects on that unparalleled domination and feels a divine flame ignite. The system begins repairing that technique until the comprehension of the Flaming Tyrant Fist is complete. Ning smiles as he absorbs all that power. Ning's eyes shine as the system announces his new ability. Outside, a disciple shouts that the scroll vault is being destroyed. The entire building begins to catch fire. The elder in charge is relieved that the patriarch only shook the structure. A man yells that there's fire on the 5th floor. An explosion happens at the top of the building. Then the elder says that isn't fire. That aura seems like the Flaming Tyrant Fist. He wonders how the patriarch learned that technique if it was incomplete. The system informs that Ning has shocked the elder and received the absorption of the solar light aura. It then asks if the host wants to combine that ability with the Flaming Tyrant Fist. Ning reflects that the technique requires a mix of domination and divine flame aura to reach its full power. He wonders what the effect of the solar aura will be. The system begins absorbing the solar light aura and a blinding explosion erupts above the vault. Ning floats in the air, glowing. The elder in charge is shocked because the patriarch is evolving. He wonders how the patriarch is using the solar light aura. All of Ning's clothes burn away and the female disciples are stunned. They notice his sculpted abs and the flame surrounding the patriarch grows even stronger. The elder reflects that the aura of the sun and moon is unlike any ordinary one. It's very difficult to absorb and harness for personal use. As Ning burns with divine flame, the elder thinks about how he's only a cultivator in the Earth King realm. Suddenly, Lu appears. Surprised, the elder greets the Grand Empress and feels more at ease knowing the vault and the patriarch are now safe. A golden miniature figure of Ning forms, leaving the disciples frightened. Confused, the elder asks what that is and the Empress confirms that it's the Great Diao body. Apparently, that only appears when the Great Diao reaches its limit, meaning Ning likely understood the Flaming Tyrant Fist completely. The Empress says that Ning hasn't fully comprehended it yet, but he's pursuing it. The system informs him of the deduction of the Great Diao. With it, he can form the great body through which the host can evolve to his limit. Ning opens his glowing eyes. His flaming great body moves, destroying the vault. Desperate, the elder wonders if the vault can't be saved and what the patriarch is doing. The Empress, however, remains calm and uses her magic. She collects all the techniques spilling out from the destroyed vault, then asks Elder Guhan to take care of those techniques and inform the disciples that they need to observe. Lu comments that Ning is in the stage of Diao deduction and must not be disturbed. He should be left alone. Meanwhile, Ning trains his new abilities. He uses the power of the fist. Several giant figures of him are formed. They begin destroying everything around them. A disciple screams that the Celestial Demonic Hall, the Sword Hall, the Fire Hall, and the Blade Hall have all been destroyed. The Empress says all they can do is watch and rebuild everything later. Ning is evolving his martial arts, which includes the DAO of fist and music. The disciples sit on the ground and thank the Empress for the clarification. She tells them not to worry because Ming's fist power is extraordinary. If they reach the DAO of fist and music, they'll be lucky. Time passes. Ning now has unmatched mastery. He feels the divine flame burning. He uses his flaming fist. With the movement, he sweeps the flames away with unmatched divine power. The system reports that the deduction of the DAO of the fist is complete and the great body begins to dissipate. Ning is happy to have mastered the flaming tyrant fist. Then the system announces that he astonished everyone in the Celestial Demon sect and obtained an immortal weapon, the meter gloves, which remain invisible. Ning equips the gloves. Now his power is far greater with this immortal weapon, and no one will know. The Empress asks her husband how he feels, and he says he's fine, but still doesn't think he's deduced enough. Then Ning notices that he destroyed the entire storage room and becomes desperate, but the Empress says it's fine, and that as a member of the sect, his cultivation is more important. The elder and the disciples are angry that she is spoiling the patriarch. Someone appears and asks who could cause such a mess in the Celestial Demon sect in the presence of the Empress. The man announces that the Holy Land of Tianbao invites the patriarch to its annual auction. Ning asks why they are inviting him. In the Celestial Demon sect, inside the Whispering Rain Tower, the Empress apologizes for the inconvenience, but the demon sect is undergoing reconstruction, and they are there to discuss the Tianbao auction. The man says it's all right and that the Empress knows what's best. Ning asks when the auction they mentioned will take place. He explains that it's an auction held across the entire domain, hosted by the Holy Land of Tianbao. All of the domain's treasures are auctioned there, so it's worth visiting. The patriarch says he understands why they would invite the Celestial Demon sect, but doesn't know why they invited him specifically. The man says that it's clearly due to the fame Ming has. After the battle in the Great Emperor's tomb, admiration for the patriarch became immeasurable. Ming tells him to stop with the flattery and speak seriously. Offended, the man says the patriarch is being rude and that he's being sincere. He was sent by the Great Lord, and the first person he thought of was Ning. He whispers that he also heard the girls that are very beautiful, and since the patriarch is very charming with him by his side, he might easily find a partner. The Empress comments that the auction features top-tier treasures. The patriarch could try his luck and maybe find the herb he needs. Smiling, Ning says that since his wife thinks the auction is worth it, he'll go participate. She says that although the relationship between the Supreme Divine Realm and the Celestial Demon sect isn't the best, they won't attack Ning. Then she stands up and says she still wants to make sure of that. The Empress approaches the two. She grabs Ning by the collar. He kisses her. The man who invited Ning asks if that's something he should be seeing. The couple's kiss emits a glow. Smiling, the Empress says she planned a formation on his body that will block attacks at critical moments and keep her informed. She also says there are some spirit coins inside the ring, so he doesn't need to worry about money. Lu then hands him a silk ice mask. Lu explains that it will change his appearance and conceal his original aura, so he doesn't need to worry about revealing his identity. Ning puts on the mask. The transformation happens immediately. When he opens his eyes, Ning already looks like someone else. The man from the land of Tianbao comments on Ning's new appearance and shows him a mirror. Ning looks at his reflection. Worried, he asks if he really has to wear that mask. Being a member of the Celestial Demon sect, he can't tarnish its image, but the Empress insists. Then she asks if he's trying to impress the girls in the city. Ning approaches his wife. He holds her waist, then says she gave him the mask because she's jealous. Lu looks confused, and Ning explains that she's afraid his physique will cause trouble. The man watches everything and feels sad because he was hoping to win over some girls using the charm of Ming's physique, but now he's ugly. The duo arrives at the city of Shenzhou. Ming comments that the Wind Shadow horses are incredible. It only took them half a day to arrive. The man tells Ming not to underestimate the horses just because they are level 2 beasts. They can travel long distances quickly and are treasures of the Holy Land of Tianbao. Excited disciples run by, saying that the 9-step Wind Thunder Terrace has opened again. Curious, Ning asks one of the disciples what that terrace is, and the disciple asks if Ning is an outsider for not knowing. Legends say that this terrace contains the most mystical and divine Thunder DAO among the 3,000 great DAOs, and in 9 steps, one can reach its summit. If you make it to the 8th step, you might get the chance to dine with the princess, the disciple says, eyes sparkling. The young man seems excited and asks if the disciple is talking about Princess Yuling, one of the 3 great beauties of Shenzhou. The disciple replies that it is indeed her. The young man runs off and tells the patriarch to hurry. They can't waste time. Ning questions whether they should find a place to stay first. Both of them leave their horses in a quiet spot. The young man asks Ning where they could possibly find a better place than with the princess, certainly not more important than the divine Thunder Dao. He pulls Ming along and tells him to enjoy the race. The duo heads off, leaving their horses behind. A hidden girl watches everything unfold. She remarks that the Holy Land of Tianbao has sent horses. In the Supreme Divine Realm, a crowd gathers. The guards grow tense with the situation. Ning comments that there are many soldiers guarding the area and that the city has very high security. The young man says it's all to protect the spiritual domain. Ning asks if the Supreme Divine Realm is really that powerful, and the young man replies that it leaves the other realms behind. Just like the Celestial Demon Sect is located in Xizhou, any major sect has its own region and sets the rules as it sees fit. The city of Shenzhou is full of sects, but behind these forces are officials who interfere. Even great emperors must rely on the power of the nation. Ning says he understands, and the young man adds that cultivators must be more cautious in this place. A woman with a cloth over her face appears. She announces that the terrace is open again and hopes everyone gives their best to reach the top. The disciples are ecstatic because she's Princess Yulin, called one of the three great beauties. Even her voice sounds like music. Ning asks why the young man doesn't just reach the 8th step himself. The disciples are outraged, saying it's not that easy to reach that step. It's like climbing to the heavens, but maybe someone will be able to do it. From above, the princess asks who will be the first cultivator to attempt the climb. The disciple steps forward and says he would like to try. Everyone cheers because that cultivator is from the Holy Land. The young master Zhuge, whom everyone considers extremely handsome. The young man beside Ning is indignant that the women find Zhuge attractive, and he asks Ning to take off his mask and show the people the truth. The princess asks the holy son of Soeo to proceed. Zhuge channels his power and says he has long heard of the terrace and can finally display his strength. He prepares to begin the challenge. The young man with Ning says that even if the 9 are free to climb, the power they face is from the divine Thunder Dao, and people can be destroyed if they're not careful. Ning asks how the young man knows so much, and he replies that he once tried it himself, but only reached the 7th step. At that step, the power of the thunder on the blue stone increases drastically. Fortunately, he had a spell that saved his life. Only because of that did he escape being struck by thunder. He adds that he never wants to feel something like that again. A disciple points out that Zhuge has already reached the 7th step. He's from the immortal emperor realm and should be able to make it to the 9th. Zhuge thinks that with each step, he feels the pressure intensify. There's something special about that 9th step of the terrace. An elder beside the princess says that perhaps Zhuge can reach the top, but she isn't so sure. Frightened, the man stops. He bows to the princess and says he's not talented enough to continue, then apologizes to the royalty. The princess says it's alright and that he is still very strong. Ning becomes interested and says he'd like to try. The young man warns the patriarch not to be overconfident. If something happens to Ning, he'll have to explain it to Lu. From above, the princess asks if there's any other cultivator who would like to try. Ning steps out from the crowd and says he'll try to climb the terrace. All the disciples are curious, not knowing who this man is or how he dares to challenge the Thunder Terrace. The princess asks who Ning is. The young man with him introduces Ning by name and says he is his great friend. The disciples mock him, saying he's not handsome or anything like that, but if he's a friend of the Holy Son of Tianbao, then he must be strong. The princess observes the Holy Son of Tianbao and comments that he seems to be doing well. Melted with passion, he replies that he's fine. Then the princess says that since Ning is friends with that young man, he might try to climb the terrace. Ning thinks about the Dao of Divine Thunder and that he must be able to master it. He then begins to climb the steps. But as soon as he steps on the first one, he feels he can no longer move and starts to panic. Everyone wonders what's happening and why Ning can't even get past the first step, since the pressure there is very weak. Furious, Ning's friend defends him and says the young man will surpass that first step. The system informs the host that the terrace has a reverse effect on people with divine physiques. This means the first step is equivalent to the 9th. The system informs that the host can immediately absorb all comprehension of the Dao of Divine Thunder, but for that, he must endure the pressure of the 9th step. Ning then begins to absorb the Dao of Divine Thunder with his comprehension increased tenfold. Ning feels the pressure of the first step, and the system tells him to hold on. A bolt of lightning descends from the sky. A disciple notices the transformation of the thunder wind and asks if that isn't the legendary phenomenon that only happens on the 9th step. Confused, the princess asks Elder Master Nanyan what's going on, and she says she doesn't know, as this has never happened before. Ning begins to undergo a transformation. He reflects on how lucky he is to have already been blessed by thunder and to have spiritual veins attuned to it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to endure all of this. Dragons form around him, and Ning screams. Everyone is shocked and wonders how anyone could survive a situation like that. If Ning didn't die, he must have an incredible defense. The system informs that Ning has stunned the city's cultivators and has received the trial pill as a reward, which grants partial resistance to Thunder's effect once consumed. Using all his power, Ning asks the system to use the Thunder Trial Pill and the Miraculous Healing Pill. This happens, and Ning finds himself surrounded by dragons as he steps onto the stair. He feels immense pressure around him. Slowly, he begins to advance. The system informs that the Dao of Divine Thunder has been comprehended. Ning reflects on how the 8th step, which should be as hard as reaching the heavens, now seems super easy. People are left speechless. Everyone starts watching Ning closely, wondering if he'll be able to reach the 9th step. He shocks everyone again, so the system rewards him with another point of comprehension in the Dao of Thunderwind. The young man thinks there are many people there, and he has just reached comprehension of the DAO of thunder. If he doesn't reach the 9th step, he won't need to explain anything. So Ning decides to stop there. The cultivators are shocked. One of them says Ning isn't capable of reaching the 9th step. Another notes that he did reach the 8th. Ning's friend asks if getting to the 8th step doesn't mean he can have dinner with Princess Yuling. The crowd is outraged that she might dine with an ugly man. Ning walks down the stairs and calls his friend to leave with him. The man asks if he doesn't want to have dinner with the princess. Then Ning says she's not as beautiful as his wife, so there's no reason to dine with her. The cultivators are outraged and question how he dares say his wife is more beautiful than one of the 3 great beauties. Suddenly, a voice asks Ning to have dinner with her. He says he's busy. Smiling, she asks when he'll be free. Ning says it depends. The princess finds it interesting to observe someone who has no interest in joining her, unlike everyone else. A man appears behind her. It is the 3rd Highness of the Supreme Divine Kingdom. He asks Yuling if anyone managed to reach the 9th step and tells her she can say anything to him in secret. She says no one reached the top of the 9th step, but one man did reach the 8th. His Highness says he clearly felt a strong thunder reaction from the terrace's 9th level at that moment. He then comments that the 8th step isn't all that special. The princess asks Master Nangan to find the friend of the holy son of Tianbao, and the elder says she will do it. In the city, the young man asks Ning why he turned down the princess and if he's an idiot. Ning replies that it's very easy to have dinner with the princess after reaching the 8th step. The man asks if Ning is implying the princess has ulterior motives, then says he doesn't believe that. He keeps talking to the patriarch, but Ning asks him to stop being annoying and find a place for them to settle. The young man tells the patriarch not to worry because he already found a place and left the horses there. But when they arrive, the horses are gone. He starts panicking, saying some bastard must have stolen them. Ning tells him to stop wasting time, they need to prepare for the auction. Night falls. In their lodging, Ning is cultivating. He's completely focused. He reflects that thanks to this DAO, the journey has already been worth it. Everything will be even better if he can get the 2 ingredients he needs at the auction the next day. At the Tianbao Pavilion, many people gather. Ning's friend comments that although there are many auctions, when it comes to valuable treasures, none compare to this one. Then he tells Ning to look around. All the strongest people of the celestial spiritual domain are there. They're also in a private room. Reflecting, he says the patriarch shouldn't be in the main hall considering his status, but Ning says he doesn't care. He's just here for the valuable treasures. Impressed, Ning's friend says how amazing the patriarch is, while Ning thinks that if people find out who he really is, he'll be hunted. In the hall, people start taking their seats. Ning comments that he didn't expect to see so many powers gathered in the city of Shenzhou. The young man agrees but says the only lands with great immortals are Xiaoyo, the Supreme Divine Realm, and the Immortal Sword Sect. They announce the arrival of the princess. She enters with her elder master, another woman. The young man says no one expected the representative of the Supreme Divine Realm to be Princess Yuling. Ning reflects on how small the world is since they've just run into each other again. The princess heads to the high point of the hall. Her elder remarks that the man is at the auction and asks why they don't go greet him, but the princess tells her not to rush and to see how things unfold. A woman in red appears. She apologizes for being late. All the disciples fall for her and say there's no need to apologize, showering her with compliments and saying they could wait an eternity for her. Ning's friend says she's the best auctioneer in the pavilion. Everyone calls her Sister Qin Mei. Ning thinks that even the auctioneer is a powerful cultivator from the celestial realm. This pavilion is not to be underestimated. Shen Mei greets everyone. Then she declares the auction officially open. Next, she asks them to observe the first item to be auctioned. Ning is in shock. It's a mid-tier, Earth-rank martial arts technique, the Thunder Wind Divine Palm, starting at 1 million coins. People begin shouting their bids, trying to outdo each other. Meanwhile, Ning thinks those martial arts techniques are important to him, but they're asking for too many coins. Before he left, his wife said she left some coins with him, but didn't say how many. Ning enters his storage ring to check how much money is inside. A blinding light fills his vision. He's stunned by what he sees. His wife is definitely rich. She left mountains of coins for him. Ning asks the system to count how many coins there are, and it concludes 1 billion. Ning thanks his wife, and now he's ready to make the most of the day. Everyone keeps bidding, and the competition intensifies. A sect elder offers 1.6 million for the item. The auctioneer asks who will offer more. Ning's friend comments that the use of that technique is very limited, only for those who've mastered both thunder and wind, so that price might be the limit. He looks at Ning and asks if the patriarch is shocked by the price, then says if the patriarch can't cover it, he, Zhu Yuanbao, will do it himself. Smiling, Ning bids 1.65 million coins. Zhu Yuanbao is stunned and asks what Ning is doing. The leader of the Stain sect offers 1.8 million. Then Ning counters with 1.85 million. The man becomes furious and offers 2 million. But Ning isn't backing down. He offers 2.5 million. The man slams the table, but he doesn't have enough money, so he declares that the Thunder Wind Palm belongs to him. Qin Mei says that if no one offers more, the young man will have won. She also announces that the first half of the auction is over, and the second will begin in half an hour. Zhu Yuanbao asks Ning if he's really that rich, the patriarch begins to realize that this auction is something truly significant. The young man told Ning not to worry because that was just the first half, meant to set the mood. The best things are saved for the second half. Ning notices the presence of the princess. She approaches him and asks if he's free that evening for dinner. Everyone around is in shock. Ning finds himself speechless, says he's busy. She is surprised to be rejected again. Mysterious, she asks when he will be free. The princess reflects that he performed the Thunder Wind of the 9th level very well and has now acquired the Divine Palm of Thunder Wind. She needs to defeat him. Ning smiles and says that when she's not free, he will be. She becomes furious. Disciples wonder who in the world would reject the princess. They realize it's the same person who climbed to the 8th step and is rejecting her for the 2nd time. The system informs that he shocked everyone in the pavilion and received the moment duplication card, which allows one to copy someone else's aura. He reflects that using that card in this moment might have unexpected effects, but Ning seems intrigued while the princess is fuming. She says he's good with jokes, so she won't bother him again, while thinking that she'll be able to capture him soon. Zhu Yuanbao starts saying that it's such a waste and many people can't even have tea with her. A disciple steps in front of Ning and says his master has invited him. Ning looks at his friend. They begin to walk the path the disciple indicates. Someone pulls Zhu Yuanbao's ear, saying he ran away from his master. It's the auctioneer, who says he's getting bolder by the day. He tells Sister Qianmei that he came down the mountain to gain experience and improve his cultivation, but she says he just wants to have fun. Looking at Ning, she asks who he is. The young man introduces him as a friend he made on the way and invited to the auction. The auctioneer says that in that case, the space is all theirs and that it's room number 1, but she looks back and tells them not to go overboard. Ming asks what that last sentence means and if there's something special about that room, but his friend says he doesn't know. Then someone announces that in the second half of the auction, there will be special guests. The auctioneer asks who those guests are. Ning's friend becomes frightened. It's the Great Emperor. Qianmei asks if her Great Emperor is really there. She asks the audience not to be nervous because the Great Emperor will not interfere and they may continue bidding. All the rooms ahead are filled with Great Emperors. Zhu Yuanbao asks the patriarch what they should do. A girl looks downcast. Ning says calmly that their room might also have a Great Emperor. He reflects that 4 Great Emperors appeared at the same time, so the item must be priceless. He can use that room to hide his identity. The auctioneer announces that the next item is a medicinal item that takes 900 years to mature, the Iceman Phoenix Grass. The minimum bid is 20 million. One of the emperors offers 30 million. Ning's friend says that the Great Emperor in room 4 has taken the lead and no one will dare challenge him. Ming offers 100 million and says he really wants that grass. The auctioneer wonders if the one who made that offer was the holy son of Chan Bao, but concludes it was probably his friend. Ning reflects that the duplication card only copies the person who senses his presence first, so he needs to let someone feel his aura to use it and shock everyone. With such a high bid, Ning shocks everyone and receives the telepathic communication card. He concludes that with this card, he won't be exposed so easily. In room 4, a disciple of the Great Emperor says that the pavilion forbids revealing guests' information, so they don't know who's in the other room. The Emperor slams the table and asks who dares take his item. A huge light shoots out from one of the rooms. Zhu Yuanbao screams for the Patriarch, who asks the system to use the moment duplication card. The card activates successfully and the aura of the Great Emperor Xiaoyao can be used for 1 hour. Ning uses the power. Inside the Emperor's room, he is shocked to feel the power of another Emperor. Since he doesn't want to pick a fight with someone that strong, he decides to let it go. Then he says that since Ming wants it, he can keep the item. The young man is happy because he obtained the Iceman Phoenix Grass. Someone laughs and offers 500 million. Ning's friend wonders if that medicinal herb is really worth that much. Ning recognizes that voice. He then uses the telepathic communication card. He contacts the Queen Mother of the West and asks her to give him some space this time, or else he might summon her while she's taking a bath. She questions whether the Patriarch is being serious and says she'll be waiting for him to summon her then. The Queen Mother of the West teases, saying she could wear her sexy ice silk underneath and keep that treasure for a long time. Angrily, Ning tells her to just wait for him. Meanwhile, she laughs and says she won't do that. Otherwise, the Empress will come after her with a sword, so she'll let him have the Iceman Phoenix Grass. Ning's friend feels guilty for being wrong, but Ning says it's fine. He got the herb. He mentally apologizes to his wife for wasting hundreds of millions. Zhu Yuanbao, surprised, says he didn't know the Patriarch was so wealthy. Ning is only thinking that the Thunderheart fruit hasn't shown up yet. Suddenly, the temperature drops drastically. Something catches Ning's attention. It's a coffin being brought in before everyone, and Ning wonders what kind of ominous thing is being auctioned now. The auctioneer approaches with the item. She announces that the coffin is called the Spirit of Shame Coffin and took a long time to reach them. Since they don't know its level, it remains speculation. It's more like a relic from the ancestral path to divine ascension. Then the bidding begins, starting at 100 million. One of the emperors offers 2 million. Ning's friend comments that it's an item every cultivator would want for their life, and they'll keep their eyes on it. Ning thinks the young man doesn't understand the true power of that coffin. He reflects that if he can get it for his wife, it might help her with her cultivation. So he offers 300 million. The auctioneer wonders if that's the friend of the holy son of Tianbao. The Queen Mother of the West thinks Ning is just enjoying the excitement without any fear of death. His friend asks if he really has to play the rich guy that day. He already stole the herb from the celestial lord of Shaoyao and now wants to do it again. The Queen Mother contacts Ning through telepathy and says that to evolve into the god realm, one must have true divine intent. She says she needs the coffin but doesn't want to ascend to the god realm herself. She doesn't know where he got his imperial aura but hopes he avoids unnecessary conflict. Ning reflects that the Queen Mother of the West has always helped him and doesn't seem to be lying. So he says he'll listen to her. The girl is happy and says the next time he visits her land, he'll receive a reward. The holy woman asks the Queen Mother if they should bid now that the patriarch has backed off, and she says yes, no matter how much it costs. She believes that Cruel Coffin might solve all the problems of the holy land of Yaochi. Some time passes. Ning is entering his room. He now has the herb and the Thunder Wind Divine Palm. The young man reflects that the only thing missing is the Thunder Heart Fruit. But the problem is he has no information about it. Either way, he can search for it later. Right now, he should practice the Thunder Wind Divine Palm. The system announces that it has begun absorbing the knowledge and expanded comprehension by 10 times. Then it announces that he has mastered the mid-tier Earth-level martial arts technique. Someone knocks at his door. Ning wonders who it could be. Then he opens the door and asks what she's doing there. The Queen Mother tells him to take off that mask first. It's way too ugly. The holy woman agrees. The young man hesitates for a moment, but then he removes the mask. They get excited upon seeing him and say his face is still stunning. Ning asks what the Queen Mother of the West is doing there. She grabs his neck, then says she's taking advantage of Empress Lu's absence, so she's forcing the patriarch to do things he normally can't. The holy woman covers her eyes, and the Queen Mother moves closer to Ning, but then she bursts out laughing and says she was just testing him. She didn't expect him to be so naive. Ning gets angry and says that when he's stronger than her, they'll put an end to the Queen Mother. They mock him, asking if he dares to try that now. The young man feels his pride flare up, so he steps closer to her. He starts hitting her, saying she asked for it. The Queen Mother is shocked that Ning dared to hit her. The system informs that he shocked the Queen Mother of the West and the holiness, and his cultivation aura increased by 300. The young man said that he's still a man after all and couldn't refuse something to the Queen Mother. He said that it was very interesting. The girl becomes pouty because he hit her. Then she grabs his shoulder. She says he needs to take responsibility for his actions. The young man asks what she means by that, if she wants to hit him too. The woman remains silent. The holiness tells the queen that they need to stop messing around and go downstairs to negotiate. The Queen Mother says Ning is a very annoying man. He asks why she even came. Then the holiness says there's a reason they came there. It's the roots of the Iceman Phoenix grass. Ning thinks he only needs the leaves of the grass so he can give them the roots. Smiling, he tells her to take it. He splits the grass in half and gives it to the Queen Mother. The holiness thanks him. The young man asks how she will reward him for making him lose hundreds of millions of coins for nothing in the auction. The woman asks how he wants to be rewarded and says she has no coins, but she does have 2 beautiful women. Ning gets shy. She leans in close to his ear and says she can offer him a breath of fresh air. Ning asks what kind of reward that is. The Queen Mother says there's no other way, she has no more coins, and he doesn't want a special reward. The young man shrugs and says he just has one question for her, then asks if she's ever heard of the Thunder Heart Fruit. Thinking, she says she knows a thing or two about it, and he asks where it is. Then the Queen Mother says it's in the Supreme Divine Realm in a forbidden area they can't enter. Ning concludes that it's the Moon Mirror Pavilion. He then realizes the princess is a great candidate for that. He thanks the Queen Mother of the West. She and the holiness bid him farewell and say to seek them out if he ever has a problem. The two leave. Ning puts his mask back on. He wonders how he'll get the princess to take him into the royal forbidden area since he can't use seduction with such an ugly face. Someone calls for him outside the room and the young man wonders if it's who he thinks it is. Opening the door, the princess is there. She says she wants to talk to him and asks the young man to listen. Ning invites her in and says they can talk. The girl is surprised. She thought he would reject her, but her sincerity and effort must have softened him. The two sit at the table, and Ning tells her to go ahead. The princess says she came because she hopes he'll go with her to the restricted royal area in the Moon Mirror Pavilion to talk. Serious, Ning says that since the princess is calling him again and again, it must be important, so he'll go with her. Meanwhile, he reflects that it was very easy to handle that situation. The princess is happy. She thinks that if she looks closely at Ning, maybe she can find some beauty in him. As she stands, she asks if he wants to go there with her right now. The two head out into the night. A woman is petting a horse, saying she thinks it's cute. But her lady says distinguished guests are arriving and that it's a shadow gale horse found with great difficulty. She prepares to stab the animal and says that if it wants to blame someone, it should blame the distinguished guests. Blood splashes. Ning and the princess enter the place. Ming's friend asks what a man and woman are doing alone in the middle of the night. The young man says the princess has something to tell him, and his friend starts accusing him of plotting something. Ming puts his hand on his friend's face and tells him to stop talking nonsense. The young man nods. Then the princess calls for him. Before Ning could leave, his friend grabs his arm. He says he wants to go too, and that they should go together. Tense, the princess says the holy son of Tianbao can go with them. Once there, the young man asks what that smell is. The princess responds with a smile, saying her younger sister prepared a grand celebration for them. Upon entering, the girl greets them, commenting that her older sister brought guests. Upon seeing who the guests are, she wonders why they're there. Worried, the princess asks if something's wrong, but with a sulky face, her sister says no. Then the princess introduces her sister, Yukon, to the two of them and introduces them to her. Polite, Yukon greets them. The holy son of Tianbao asks what that delicious smell he's sensing is. Excited, Yuling says it's the banquet her sister prepared for them using a rare shadow wind horse. The young man stares with his mouth watering. Suddenly, he drops his chopsticks. In despair, he realizes the food is made from his rare horses. Confused, the princess asks what's wrong with Ming's friend, and the young man explains that they lost their horses a few days ago. Yukon rushes out, excited, and the princess asks where she's going. The girl says it's an emergency. The young man asks her where the horse meat came from, and the girl stammers. Furious, he starts yelling that he was searching for his horses, and she was the one who stole them. The girl asks why he's so angry. He tied the animals in a public place, and she had no way of knowing they were his. He shouts louder, asking how she dares argue with him, and Yukon asks if he's planning to do something about it. Then the boy starts getting nervous and speechless. Smiling, Yukon calls him a coward, and the princess says she's going too far. Ming comments that the girl doesn't seem remorseful for what she did and should be punished, then asks if the princess wants him to deal with a thief. He reaches out his hand toward her and pulls her close. Angrily, she says he's a horrible man and asks how he dares. The young man strikes her as punishment. The girl becomes sad and hugs her sister. The princess says she was the one who started causing trouble, so she should apologize to the holy son of Tianbao or she'll end up in confinement. Crying, Yukon apologizes for stealing the horse. Serious, Ning asks the princess what he can do for her at that moment. She says she wants him to help her become an empress. The boy is confused, then asks if she's planning a rebellion and what's going on. Yuling says that's not it. What she wants is to fight for the right to inherit the throne. Her ambitions don't stop at ascending to the realm of the great emperor. She wants to become an empress of the divine realm to promote peace and prosperity. Ning asks what she expects him to do, and then she begins to explain that this is the forbidden area of the supreme realm. The young man is shocked that this is the place the Queen Mother of the West mentioned. It was created by the founder of the Supreme Divine Realm, used for cultivation, and there's something there she urgently needs to generate a quake as powerful as the 8th step of the terrace. The princess says she's tried for many years but never succeeded, and Ning reflects that this is why she sought someone who could climb the stairs. So the video ends here. If you don't want to miss the next part, activate the notification bell, and see you next time on Tob's channel.